This is the D6 generation with your hosts, Craig Gallant.
No, cut that. Keep that. Someday it's going to be worth something.
Russ Wakelin.
You put me in an ATST with frickin' Wookiees attacking me and whatnot? Now you're talking.
And Raef, Hollywood Granger.
I still don't know what S-foils on an X-Wing are.
With contributions from Total Fangirl
Vampires do not sparkle.
and our loyal listeners.
Are you crazy? That's like 400 hours of gamer nonsense.
Welcome to another edition of Rapid Fire, the roundtable discussion of all things gaming, covered at the speed of a temporally unstable isotope, rushing backwards through the time-space continuum, carrying with it all the mysteries of the future. Today's edition is brought to you by all of our friends at Patreon who help us keep the lights on and the tape rolling. We don't actually use tape. No, shut up! Today we're going to be thanking Bill Hagberg, John Haley, Matt Hall, Gus Hammer, and Adam Hansen. Let's begin. I'm Geek McNally, your host. Today our panelists are Russ, Runic Divination Wakelin, and the original third chair podcasting lawyer extraordinaire and host emeritus, Raef Gastromancy Granger. Let's begin again. Issue number 1. Fortune-telling is the practice of predicting information about a person's life. The scope of fortune-telling implies a less serious or formal setting, even one of pop culture, where belief in occult workings behind the prediction is less prominent than the concept of suggestion, spiritual or practical advisory or affirmation. Question. Although some fortune tellers use this as their sole source of income, most look upon it as a secondary occupation. What sector of the economy provides the most part-time soothsayers? Rabdomancy Russ.
Prognostication.
Runecasting Raef.
Tarot card readers.
No! Clearly neither of you understood the question at all, which made you wrong and silly. Human services. That would include counseling, social work, teaching, and healthcare. That's where you get the most part-time soothsayers. Issue number 2. Memory is the faculty of the mind by which information is encoded, stored, and retrieved. Memory is vital to processing our life's experiences. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future action. If we could not remember past events, we could not learn or develop language, relationships, personal identity, or remember what predictions we made last year. Question. What is the name of the former glamour cat from the musical Cats who sings the song Memory? Rum-Tum-Tugger Russ.
Memory Cat.
Rumple-Teaser Raef.
Calico Cat.
No. Oh, Raef gets that Calico, that would be, I believe, Jellico. Yeah, no, wrong! It's Grisabella, a name as beautiful as the musical is entertaining. Issue number 3. A golden age is a period in a field of endeavor when great tasks were accomplished. The term originated from early Greek and Roman poets who used it to refer to a time when mankind lived in a better time and was pure. We often hear we are currently living through a golden age of gaming, of movies, of television, and more. But are we? Question. The term golden age was first introduced by the ancient Greek philosopher Hesiod in what philosophical work? Metrodorus Russ.
The future, and will it be golden?
Phaedrus Raef.
The Iliad.
Wrong! And at least it was Greek, I guess. The name of that book was Works and Days. Come on, guys. Everybody reads that freshman year of high school. Issue number 4. Uncertainty has been called an unintelligible expression without a straightforward description. Makes perfect sense to me. It describes a situation involving imperfect and or unknown information. It applies to predictions of future events, to physical measurements that are already made, or to the unknown. Question. What term is used by scientists to describe the general public's tendency to misunderstand difficult to learn scientific uncertainty in regards to complex concepts? Richard Lindsay Russ.
Ungrockable.
Robinson Raef.
I'm struck by how loud Craig is. He's like in a Greek...
I am not Craig. I am Geek McNally, and you, sir, are wrong! The answer is the information deficit model, or how smart are we, how dumb are they? Sounds inconvenient. That's it for now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
This episode of the D6 generation is brought to you by
Battle Foam, protecting your army so you don't have to. And the War Store, bringing the war to your door since 1999, and that is for a decade or more.
What's up?
Hey, and welcome to episode 227.
Yes.
Wow, you guys still doing this, huh?
Yeah.
Apparently, of the D6 generation. I am Russ Wakeland.
I am Craig Lawrence.
And I'm Raef Hollywood Granger.
That's a decade of Hollywood right there.
Rafe, welcome back to the show.
Thank
Super
you.
excited to have you here. This is a special episode. We are
Yes.
recording live and in person.
I can actually look at
It's
it.
always
Yeah.
special when we do it because Rafe always joins us, but this is extra special because we're sitting in Rafe's house.
We are.
Which not only means we can all see each other, which is cool and different,
Yeah.
but it also means that Rafe can indulge in alcoholic beverages, which is a first for the D6 generation.
It is.
And he's
Well-
talking about in the middle of the break that we take while we go get lunch later on, trying to get Russ drunk. So the rest of the show could be very interesting.
Could get interesting.
I didn't say that. I said
I've already volunteered to
cocktail.
drive.
Yeah, exactly. So I have, this is sort of interesting. So if you hear a strange echo in the background, it's because
Yes.
we're in this cool room. So that's what that's from. But super excited. So it's time for our annual predictions episode.
It is.
Uh,
You know how
and,
much I like the annual predictions episode.
I love this show because when we first started it, Craig has always been on record as hating it.
Yeah.
And this is
hate
our-
such a strong word to be
Being disappointed in it,
Yeah. Well,
that we have to do it. But the best part is this is actually the most downloaded,
yep.
most talked about,
Don't get
the
it.
one show that our listeners never miss a
Don't
year.
get
And has he won the most, too?
No, not
Recently, Craig has been pretty winning.
Yeah.
I've been
Yes,
pretty winning.
Yeah.
pretty winning.
I like that phrase. I've
This
been pretty
year,
winning.
we'll find out this year.
No, this year, not so much. I
Hey.
think in fact, I know. We all know.
Are
You
you
might have
predicting?
forgotten.
Yeah.
No, I'm not predicting. You might have forgotten because I had completely fabricated a memory and laid it over the actual memory of what happened last time we did this last year. When I lost a prediction within 30 seconds of making it.
You did.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, we should get to
I'm going to
that.
predict right now. I'll make a prediction that I did very poorly in
All right.
2017.
We'll find out about all that soon. But before we get to all that, we do have a couple things we got to get to. First of all, Craig and I, we always like to spend a little time at Dunkin' Donuts
We do.
between
We do.
episodes.
Even
here.
if nobody else can join us.
Sometimes
we just
people
hang
are
out.
there, sometimes they're not. This time we were hanging out at
It's the
Dunks.
center of the universe.
Craig, do you remember what we talked about? We were hanging at Dunkin' Donuts?
We talked about where are they now?
Yeah, we went through some of our, listeners ask us sometimes, hey, you reviewed a game a few years ago.
Ah.
It was
So-
a big one. It was 2015.
2015.
And
yeah.
a lot of really good games came out in 2015.
It was a good year for games.
It was
a really good year
There's
for
a lot
games.
of games that we reviewed in 2015 that we're still playing today.
There are great stuff. Do you want to hear about that? You want to check out the Lost Chapters, Rafe.
That sounds good.
Now, Craig, do you remember how to get the Lost Chapters? Someone wants to find a Lost
absolutely
Chapter.
do.
What
If
do
you
do?
wanted to find the Lost Chapters, the best way to do it would be to go to the d6generation.com and then check out the Patreon page. If you wanted to click on that, it would go directly to our page, and it'll show you exactly what you need to do and what Patreon is all about. If you pledge $2 or more per episode, that will unlock the vast treasury that is the Lost Chapter Library.
Sweet.
Once you get Russ's voice is really cool the way he introduces that. That's worth it right there.
I guess
there.
we'll see.
Worth the price of admission.
So there you have it. So please check that out if you would be so kind.
Yes.
we
Without
really-
our patrons, we would not be doing this.
No,
right now.
this would
So-
not be possible without all of our
No.
fantastic patrons. And as we go into 2018, Craig and I are
We
looking
have
at ways
some
to kick
plans.
up a notch our what we do for our patrons. So listen for
Ooh,
more
that sounds
coming in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
What's the time now for Craig?
It's time now for, in the middle of the living room, with the dining room with no acoustic ability whatsoever,
Right.
achievement in gaming.
Nice.
Actually, in this room, the echo is kind of built
Actually,
in.
that's
what I'm saying.
It's kind of built right in.
It's still
So-
right in.
That's right.
What have you been
Baked in
playing?
the pie.
What have you been playing lately, Rafe?
Okay, so I've been a little bit light in the gaming area, much to Craig's chagrin. He
Yes.
wants to bludgeon me every
Yeah,
Tuesday.
every now and then.
So what I've been up to pulp gaming wise is I've been playing a bunch of Starfinder.
Oh, nice.
And also playing a bunch of Pathfinder.
Now let me ask you about
Two
Starfinder. So
different
I know Pathfinder is really D&D 5e taken to the next level by those folks at
It's like
Paizo.
based off to the 3.5.
Yeah, right. What is Starfinder basically 3.5 in space, or did they go in a whole different set of mechanics directions? What are you thinking of it?
No. It's the base rule set.
Yeah.
So it's if you like 3.5 / Pathfinder, you will like Starfinder. So it's still kind of granular. They have done some different rules. So for example, crits are different. In Pathfinder, you roll a critical on your weapon. Let's say a 20 is a critical. then you have to roll a hit again, and then you've gotten a critical. Almost never happens. You get all excited. Never happens. Starfinder, you roll a 20, critical.
Okay.
So they've made some tweaks like that, but it's still the base rules.
Nice.
And what's funny about Starfinder for me is I've never, ever, ever, ever been able to get into a space game.
Oh.
I can't get into Star Wars. I can't get into Star Trek because those movies and those images are so iconic to me.
You've done a lot of 40K role playing, though.
I do like the 40K to me, but only remember I had a tough time running the Space Marines.
That's true, yeah.
But like if you're Imperial Guard or Dark Heresy, I was able to get into the mind because there's no sort of Dark Heresy character. You know what I mean? But whenever there's an iconic character for me, I have a really tough time role playing it. But not so with Starfinder. I cannot quite understand why. So maybe it might be because I'm not playing a Han Solo smuggler or a lightsaber wielding Jedi or something.
Right.
That could be.
No, I don't like the Star Wars one. I can't get into Star Wars.
I can't seem to get into it. But so I actually play a character that's a giant rat. It's called
Is he like a space Skaven?
He's like a space.
He's like a space Skaven. Actually, I play a girl. I play a girl in Pathfinder 2.
Now, when you say giant rat, is he giant for a rat, but like man size, or is this like a Wookiee that's a rat?
No, giant for a rat.
Okay.
So I think I'm only like 3.5 foot tall.
So you're like a dwarf-sized rat.
Yes, actually smaller.
Okay.
And
so Skaven, still is space Skaven then.
Yeah, because dwarves in Pathfinder are a medium-sized creature, and I'm a small creature.
Okay.
So more like a gnome.
No, I like how this giant rat is shrinking rapidly.
Here's the funny thing about this rat that I play. Isaki is the name of the race. So they have two special abilities. I have a bunch of special abilities, racials. So I can store up to, I think it's a cubic foot of material in my cheek pouch. It's a swift action. So I keep a small gun and I can be like...
Pockets of gun. That's awesome. It's very chipmunk.
It's very
or gerbil.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the other thing I can do is I can dump the entire contents of my backpack in my square and not provoke an attack of opportunity. So I could just sort of dump it and like root around, pull something
I see.
out.
Because you're like a pack, like a pack.
So I just when I read that, I'm like, I'm playing that just
that
so
sounds
I can
fun.
role play that. So
I do love when they can get the books to the point when you're reading them, it just immediately character role playing just pops into your head.
It did. They nailed it. Like I recommend anybody just buy the book just to read it. It's fun to read. If they've done something different, the fluff is different. They've got a neat universe. It's cool. It's understandable. It doesn't take a lot of investment to try to go, oh, these planets and it's like instantly recognizable to me anyway. And it's been fun. And the rule set's great. The super cool thing about that too is Ryan Morency is GMing it. It's his first time GMing it, and he is doing a phenomenal job.
Excellent.
It's like he was born to GM.
Oh, cool.
And on top of that, he's quite a woodworker, and he's a 3D artist. So he actually created a gaming table. Okay. You can put slats on top and play your Guild Ball. He likes to play Guild Ball. You pop the tabletop off, and he inlaid a giant TV.
Oh.
And we play on the TV. He's gotten the maps, and he knows how to 3D render and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So we're literally playing on a 3D rendered map that he's either bought and then tweaked.
Yeah.
Like we got a starship in the game, and he showed us a total visual representation of this.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's almost like playing on flat level Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
It's like that level of.
Wow.
And I didn't think when he was going through this effort, I was like, man, he must have put 40 hours into this.
Wow.
Kind of thing. But it really pays off. It's quite interesting.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
How about you, Craig?
I have been playing some Company of Iron.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying that. We're actually going to probably review that next show.
Probably next episode,
And unless something comes up. I'm not just saying that because did I wipe you out to the man? I don't remember.
I don't recall what happened exactly. I remember losing, but after that it gets blurry.
I don't recall. There were so many errors.
None of my guys got home to report what happened, so I don't really know what happened, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm just really enjoying it because I have this whole Retribution army, right? And when I first bought the Retribution army, I bought it from our friend Dave, who had built it and then not painted it. So I painted it all up, but there were a bunch of units that I'd never used either. Yeah, because because I really anyway, there's a whole story behind what I do and don't like about the Retribution elves, and we've already gone over that before in the past. But what I do like is all those kind of cool scouty units and the archers and things like that. So I'm using, actually we've played twice and I have not used the same model. Some of them, but most of it's all been different and cool and I've really enjoyed it. So I think there's a lot of different options for you if you have armies already, War Machine and Hordes armies. I also think it's relatively inexpensive to buy. You just got to buy 1 or 2 units and you've got everything you need to play the game. So you could literally, if you're going, to a discount online shop or whatever for $25 or $30, you have what you need to play this whole game.
And the rules are available for download from PDF.
Yep.
As are the cards. So yeah, there's everything you need.
PDF download?
Yeah, there's really nothing you have to buy other than the models to play.
Go Privateer.
Yeah, it's a very affordable way to check it out.
I think it's a very smart thing for them to do. And we'll talk more about that in the future, so I like that. And I also got another game of 40K in against a friend of the show, Chuck, actually friend and listener occasionally, Chuck. And that was a blast. He is only getting back into 40K very, very recently, so that was cool. It was a very casual, laid-back game. A lot of fun. He plays Ultramarines, so I got to see all the
excellent choice, Chuck.
All the Ultramarine cool stuff that they have access to, and he uses all of the models from Dark Imperium. So I was facing all those Primaris Marines and characters, and he has the big giant Primaris Dreadnought Redemptor, I think it's called. It's like twice the size of a normal Dreadnought.
Wow!
It was cool. It was really, really cool. And we played the card missions again. The strategic objective missions, which it's definitely my favorite way to play the game. Although the narrative play that Raef and I did was a lot of fun too.
I like that.
So any of these that build a story as you go, and I'm almost to the point now where I'm remembering most of the rules for my Death Guard. So
there are a lot.
There's like so many layers of but when I'm in hand to hand, I've got the Death to the False Supper to remember, and then you also have the stratagems to remember. And so there's a lot to remember.
Nearby, they got to remember that.
Yep, exactly. So I've got to remember all that stuff, but slowly but surely figuring it all out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Russ?
Well, I got to play Civilization: A New Age.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about that.
With
so you tweet that.
a friend Matt and Jeremy and his wife Megan, and it was fantastic. So this is the latest Civilization game from Fantasy Flight.
Yeah, did they reboot it?
Well, it's yes. Well, it's just a different way to play Civilization. Oh. I would describe it more as it's much more accessible than the prior version. Components are amazing. Beautiful hexagonal map. Really cool little plastic carriages for the settlers. Yes.
So I can get into this.
Yeah.
Is it a new box game?
Yes.
So it's not just a rule set?
New board game. A whole new board game. Self-contained board game.
Okay. What do you mean by more accessible? Because I thought the last game was...
Well, it's super easy to learn. So how it works is there is this set of...
the last game.
There's this little track in front of you that's got a slot for, I want to say, 5 face-up cards. And... along the top of the track, there are numbers as well as terrain types.
Is this just for your race?
Each faction, each person has one of these. Like it's like a little player map area thing. And the cards and where they start, there's cards that go into this track. And these are the actions you can take, these cards.
Oh.
So there's like an action that moves your settler and creates new cities. There's an action that grows your power base. There's an action that basically invents new things. Now these 5 starting cards, where they are on the track, when you pick an action, you move the card that's currently in the height that you actually just did back to the bottom of the track and you slide everything up.
Okay.
And the things that are farther to the right in the track are more powerful than the things lower in the track.
Okay.
Right? So it's kind of like you want to wait till later to use these powers, but if you want to do the same power back to back in 2 turns, like settle twice or something, you can, but you have less power when you do it. But what's really neat is these 5 cards, in the beginning of the game, they tell you what the game effect is, and in the bottom it explains why you'd want to do it.
Oh, you're always a huge fan of that.
So you basically can read and learn. But then later, as you tech advance, you replace those cards with more advanced versions, which removes the why you do it language and adds more depth to what they can do.
Oh, that's cool.
So your technology is very abstracted because these cards are the technologies. And there's different. So one of the cards is kind of the science action. One of the cards is kind of the explore action. One of the cards is kind of the fight action, right? But then what's also really interesting and compelling is there's no armies on the map. Instead, there's just control tokens that indicates the land you control.
Okay.
And then to fight, you basically can fight from one of your control territories into someone else's control territory. But I really like how they handle the barbarians. So the barbarians, these little tokens, and there's this sort of this sort of compass rose you roll the die against, and whatever you roll is which direction all the barbarians move.
Okay.
And the barbarians continually respawn until someone settles the land the barbarians are in.
Yeah.
So the barbarians are constantly running around the map, causing all kinds of trouble, and forcing you to at least have some military strength, which is pretty neat. I really like it. It played really fast. 4 of us learning the game while we played it. Literally, none of us had played it before. Only Matt had read the rules. Learning while we played, we were done in 2 hours.
Wow.
Which for like a civilization take over the world game.
It was a very high energy corner of the room.
And we were done faster than Craig's 40K game. So
where'd you play?
We played at Midgard.
Okay.
Games, the one down the street here.
2 hours. Huh?
It was great. And I think what you know, it's going to be an hour and a half. And
that's appealing.
There's not a lot of your actions are very simple and fast. There's a little bit of analysis paralysis, but you have plenty of time to think when it's not your turn. And the action choices, because of the way the actions work, and you really want to take the most powerful action possible, kind of the order of your actions starts to dictate what you can really do anyway.
Craig's texting.
I have
distracted.
a life.
This is the problem with being able to see each other. You don't know that we're actually normally like Craig
Normally
claimed.
I would be painting.
Craig claimed this is the first time you've ever had an alcoholic beverage during the show. I don't think that's true.
That's probably not
We don't
true
really
at all,
know.
actually,
We just don't know.
We don't really know.
This sounds fun. I should board
I
you.
like it. It's very approachable, but it's also got nice depth to it. So I like it a lot. Also, as Craig mentioned, I'm playing a lot of Company of Iron. I played Craig. I played our friend Tim Colonna, who also tabled me. Then I played Raef.
Yes, we played
today. What'd you think of it, Raef?
I love
War Machine
I
playing.
thought it was great. I mean, you know me, I'm a huge War Machine fan anyway, but I was a little skeptical. Craig's like, oh, you're going to love it, you're going to love it. And I'm like, yeah, it's just going to be War Machine light. But it's not. It's a different game. The card mechanics really, have you guys talked about it? I want to bore people.
Not really. Go ahead. Give us a little detail. We'll talk more next episode.
Well, my interface is I played with my Winter Guard riflemen, and I played with my Assault Commandos, which was really fun, because Assault Commandos aren't really known as being the best choice to pick for Khadora. I like to play them anyway, but in this thing, it was awesome. I got to... Yeah, it played fast. It has integrated turns. So I go...
so Rafe moves a model, I move a model, Rafe moves a model, so very back and forth.
So very, very quick. I didn't think there was analysis paralysis, but you and I tend to play pretty quick anyway.
Yeah, right.
I love the card mechanic. Gave lots of options. If anybody's interested, even if you're not a War Machine player, I would go check it out. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, and I like it comes with some tokens, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, the core box comes with enough models to play. It's basically Christmas Day stuff. It's even got a tape measure in there, a little measuring stick. So everything you need to play.
Is it metal or plastic?
It's plastic. You need to assume some assembly, so you need a little glue.
Tokens are nice, though.
But it's got all the tokens you need, all the rules, 3 rule books, scenarios.
So the Christmas Day rule by now is kind of marked by colored
I think the weakness is they're not pre-assembled. If there was pre-assembled...
It's not colored plastic either, right?
No, and it breaks a couple rules. There's no matte. So there's no play surface either, which is also a problem.
Which we should not say. I mean, it's still a great deal.
It's a great deal.
A great box. It's just not quite the...
And I'm glad I bought it, even though it comes with the...
Steamforged has really kicked up the whole Christmas morning rules by quite a bit.
But it's a great 2-faction army, starter box.
Definitely.
Miniature games.
Playable, quick, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we know War Machine, though. So we were able to play a real game.
And Privateer also has released Company of Iron battle boxes. So you can buy like a Signar Company of Iron Force, which comes with the rule books.
Oh, really?
And just Signar guys. 20 points of Signar.
You raised a good point, too, where, Russ, you weren't here yet, Craig, when he said this, where he's like, if I want to play another faction, I can just buy a squad.
Right.
That's what I mean.
I might not want to invest in the whole army.
Right. So it's. I think they got a winner here. We'll talk more about this later in predictions too. But so really enjoying that. I wanted to share with you guys my my D&D story. So as I mentioned to listeners, I tried a really crazy thing, which was in the middle of my Rise of Tiamat campaign, and we're transitioning now from Horde of the Dragon Queen over to Rise of Tiamat. Right.
You dressed in a Tiamat costume.
I am not dressed in a Tiamat costume. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of give the players sort of this feel that the cult is more of an epic event affecting a lot of different things around the land.
Yeah.
And that things have happened in the past. So what I asked them to do a couple sessions ago, I said, roll up a bunch of level 5 characters. I don't care what you do, but they all have to be Harpers.
Okay.
Right? And so then I gave them a mission. And I want to do a backstory. So their main characters were going along, and they got to a place in this room, and they saw 5 frozen figures stuck and as I started to describe them, they recognized them as the alts they'd created. And then I said, flashback, and now get out your alts. And so I flashed back to this place where this temple in this Amazon jungle, and they were ordered by the Harpers to go check it out because the cult was moving into the temple. Now this is in the past, And what they started to find out was the Drackhorn, which is this giant horn thing it's part of the main story.
Yeah.
In the main story, in the main campaign, the cult has it. You don't know how they got it.
Right.
So what I'm going to flash back in time to, these Harpers, the squad of Harpers is going in to figure out where the Drackhorn really was.
I see what you did.
Now, what's interesting about this situation is...
You pulled a Rogue One.
Well, this is interesting. So I flash back to this point, and I wanted to see it and kind of do it. They all do going into this. They're all like, oh, crap, all 5 of us are going to be frozen at the end of this. So how's that going to happen? At first, they're like, well, you can't kill us because there's going to be 5 of us frozen. I said, well, let's die and see what happens. So we played on. And what I was nervous about was how I wanted to end the scene. I wanted certain things to happen at the scene. I wanted the bad guys to get the Drackhorn, obviously. They have to have it. I wanted it to be an unwinnable situation, but I wanted it to be very tense for the players, like they were trying to do something important.
Okay.
So they got to this final spot, and they see the Drackhorn there, and it's all chained down to this key. Now, earlier in this dungeon, they had found the key and fought the kobolds and protect. So my original plan was they'd see the kobolds getting the key from deeper in the dungeon and running back to unlock the Drackhorn. But they managed to defeat the kobolds, and so now they had the key. I'm like, oh crap, I hope they get there. So they got to the room with the key, and they're coming into being very sneaky. So the party separates slightly, and 2 guys scout ahead. And they get into this large room, and it's this massive room, and above them there's this opening in the ceiling, and up there standing are a bunch of main characters from the main campaign, along with this big white dragon. And the Drackhorn's right in the room, all chained down. They've got the key. One of the main bad guys is up there with one of the dragon masks. And so one of the characters, the 2 that were scouting, she's just like, I just shoot a fireball right into everything. So she fires a fireball up there, kills a bunch of kobolds. It knocks the mask off the guy, and it falls down into the room.
Nice.
So now they're like, we got to get the mask before we die. So they start breaking up trying to do this. And as they're fighting, the dragon freezes almost the entire party except for 1. So she froze them all but 1. Now, there also happened to be an NPC with the party, who is also a character from later in the story that I put in earlier. She got frozen. But they thought for sure they were all going to be frozen. But one of the characters, my niece Logan, she had these special boots that protected her from forest damage. So she didn't actually die. She actually grabbed the mask, and then as she was starting to head out, but the main bad guy cleric said, command, drop it. She dropped it. They're like, oh my God, she's got to get it. She picked up the mask again. She commanded, dropped it again. And then she finally got it. She's crawling over through this 5-foot over frozen companions, and she barely gets away. And she just got out with the mask because everybody else was about to. And now, so they got out with the information, and it just went so well. And I rolled everything. I didn't lock it in. I didn't just say you're all frozen. And they literally all turned to us and they went, wow, that was just like Rogue One. That was the biggest compliment I could ever. So it was just a blast. It worked out perfectly. Awesome. And now they know the backstory of the Drackhorn and how the bad guys got it.
Great.
And what's cool is the guy that had his mask knock off, I described it as like being all burnt. So they see him later and he's going to have a scar from that moment.
Yeah.
So it's got really cool, highly recommend trying it. It was tricky. It was a pain in the butt, but it was a lot of fun. So
Sounds
went really well. What about modeling? Craig, what have you been building lately?
I'm working on those Death Guard, all of my Black Friday purchases. So I am almost done with 7 new Death Guard Plague Marines. I did them up with their hand-to-hand model weapons, so that was pretty cool. And I got to use them for the first time against Chuck. Because I tried to use him for the first time against Dave, and he killed them all. He was very
great.
That's
awesome.
He was very not accommodating. And so that's cool. Okay. I was priming all of these, and I'm priming them different colors because their final appearance is going to be different. So I was priming the Blight Lord Terminators. Okay, that's $60 of models.
Yeah.
And something went wrong with the spray can. And
I saw that picture.
Sandpapered them. No, that was a different picture.
Oh, I've seen that. If the temperature's wrong, I've had that happen.
But it didn't happen. I primed everything the same day. So I primed the Plague Marines, the Death Shroud, the character, the Biologist Putrefier, the Rhino, and the Terminators. And only the Terminators did it happen with, and it destroyed them. Which I'm like, I can only imagine how I would feel if I was painting Eldar.
Which primer was this?
How it was just off the shelf, cheap.
Yeah.
But I've had it happen with normal stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just bizarre to me that like that it happened, and it's frustrating every time I get like I'm painting them, in a big cycle. So I'll paint one squad with one color, and then the next squad with that color. And whenever I get to the Terminators, I'm getting really angry because they've basically been destroyed for all intents and purposes. But they're Nurgle, so it works fine.
Yeah. But now if you don't want it.
I didn't want it, but at the same time, I'm also like, it was kind of like a last ditch. You know what? I'm going to buy those too on Black Friday because I was saving so much money. So, it's like a little every time I get to painting those. But luckily, all the models that I like didn't have that happen. So that's what I've been working on right now. Right. Have you been doing any modeling, Raef?
Just one model. So I've been like out of
Well, that's the benefit of role-playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been out of the miniature gaming scene I was thinking about that this morning when I was preparing for the show. The other day. I was like, I don't know why. I don't know. Well, so maybe we'll ruminate about that later. But so, yeah, I painted my Pathfinder model. She's a female dwarf rogue, which is super fun to play, by the way, because it's sort of off.
Is she like right out of Dave's D&D rogue campaign?
No.
She sounds very familiar.
Oh, maybe that. I thought I came up with this brand new. Maybe I came up with that before, too, or maybe the other way around.
No, didn't you? I thought you played a
Oh, you know what? That was Hespi's sister. Hespe is the name of the Hesperides is the name of my character in the Pathfinder. That was her sister. In a little alternative universe.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's pretty fun because it's usually think of halfling rogue or elf rogue or something, but it's fun. The Constitution bonus sort of helps, and she's pretty strong in combat actually. So I painted her up. I'm happy with how she came out. And then
where'd you get the model? Which model did you use?
I think it was Dark Sword.
Okay, yeah, Dark Sword. Yeah,
I think. No. That's not right. Bones.
Oh, it's a Bones.
It was
Dark.
Bones.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
it's a Bones miniature. But I'm on the hunt for. I need my Isaki. And Starfighter has made some miniatures, but they're not all out yet. So I have to find a rat-like.
Yeah. That's Mantic. You like Mantic stuff. They have the vermin or space rats.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for that.
I should look at that. I do like Mantic stuff.
You should look at them.
So that's it. That's all I've been doing. Zilch, nothing else.
Okay. Well, I've got an unusual modeling one. So every year...
Being the foreman doesn't... I don't know, but we'll hear it because it's a nice, heartwarming experience.
All right. So every year, we build a gingerbread house.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, my daughters and niece and nephew decided that they wanted to put dragons on the house because we had this inside joke from our D&D campaign, mostly due to the fact that this commercial used to come on whenever we put Pathfinder on for colleges.
What?
So we had, not Pathfinder, Pandora. So we had Pandora on playing music.
That story did get a little confusing.
Yeah, that's not Pathfinder. So we play, I got Pathfinder in my head now because you're talking about, so we have Pandora on playing different, Lord of the Rings music, whatever we play D&D. And all of a sudden, up comes these commercials for these community colleges, right, that are local. So we started making jokes about Kobold College as just because you're fighting a lot of kobolds.
Okay.
And it kind of became a shtick for our group. So they decided they're going to build Kobold College as a gingerbread house. And it was a lot of fun. The girls got together and Rose printed out. She found a bunch of dragon shadows online and printed a bunch out.
Okay.
And then cut them out. So my wife, Nicole, could cut out of gingerbread dragon shapes.
I saw.
So they cut a bunch out. I put a bunch on Twitter, and they built the house, and it's covered in. And they took gumdrops and made gumdrop guard drakes. And then they were using the piping to pipe like little fire breathing out of their sides of the house and everything.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
So I was really impressed with their passion to make it a.
I guess that
a
counts
thing.
as modeling.
So I more oversaw modeling.
He was the overseer.
Yeah, I more facilitated.
I said, it's a heartwarming story, so we'll allow it.
What do you do? Like you're on your computer during that whole time?
No, I'm there, but I'm just more
cutting out dragons and stuff.
So John and I are there, just like helping. Well, the kids do most of the work now, so we're just like helping, use knives to cut the candy up to certain shapes or whatever. Like that.
Did you take any sort of directorial role or advisory position?
Not really. No,
cool.
Not really. I do get to pick on a lot of supplies.
Kobolds in said Kobold College?
Well, no, it ended up being dragons and drakes. So, yeah, not so much.
So that's still cool.
All right. So what about other stuff like movies, TV shows, whatever, comic books?
That I got to bring up.
Raef, what have you been doing?
Craig, go first.
Craig.
Russ, go first.
All right, fine. So for video games...
Russ never gets to go first.
Okay. Been almost done with Shadow of Mordor. Really close to the end of that.
Is this you play like one guy? Or is it like a massive combat thing?
Yeah, it's actually Shadow of War, but Shadow of War is the sequel to Shadow of Mordor. So I'm playing Shadow of War now, in which you play a ranger, so Lord of the Rings, ranger, right? Who has, through the whole story of the first game, essentially melded himself with a elven Raef. So you're half in the world of the ring wraiths and half in the world of mortal men. Whenever you die in this game, you immediately come back. Okay. Because you're kind of like a ring wraith. And the game uses that mechanic. When you die, you don't reload your last save. You die and you respawn at certain sort of magical points in the game. But whatever orc killed you levels up and gets more renown because he was the one that killed you. And you get a vendetta against him.
Is it like playing the Batman games where you're like Batman, but you're a
well, no, it's more like Assassin's Creed in that you can take a direct heavy combat approach or you can sneak. You can do both. Okay. It's actually very Assassin's...
like missions?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's very open world Assassin's Creed because you actually climb to the tops of towers to unlock things, much like Assassin's Creed. But you have some really cool...
That swan dive into the hay?
Kind of. You can leap off as you're... What's interesting, because you're part Wraith, you can do really cool things, like one of my favorite attacks
and just for the listeners, that's not part Raef.
No, it's part Raef. Raef.
That gets confused a lot.
It can be confusing.
Yeah. Like Shadow Strike is the coolest. So your bow is actually part of the elf Wraith, the elf that lives inside you. The bow is that. Okay. So you don't actually carry a bow. Instead, when you go to shoot, this glowing white sort of Wraith-like bow appears in your hand and you fire Wraith-like arrows. But that gives you some abilities like Shadow Strike, where you can target somebody like a mile away with your bow or whatever, and you can click Shadow Strike, and you basically immediately teleport to him and assassinate him.
Oh, cool.
So really cool stuff like that happens.
Would I like it?
I think you might. There's a lot of combat, so you got to like a lot.
Is it action combat?
Yes.
Trigger button?
Yeah,
or is
but it's
the time thing where you like pause the game and then...
No, it's action. It's action.
Okay.
But what's neat about Shadow of War is you actually raise entire orcish armies. Because one of the things he forges, not a spoiler at the beginning of the game, he forges a new ring, this elf. The elf that's inside of you, by the way, is one of the guys who worked with Sauron to forge other wings.
Oh, okay.
But he was betrayed by Sauron, so he's like really pissed at Sauron. So he's working through you. He's forged a new ring that he claims, part of the story is you don't know, he claims has not been corrupted by Sauron. So you've got this ring. So what it allows you to do is basically you stick your hand on the side of the head of an orc, and you can take control of him, and he'll now follow you. And it leaves a burnt, very Saruman hand of the white thing on the side of the orc's head, which is interesting. It's great. So the orcs all follow you around, and you're actually learning the stories in this game. What's really cool is you're learning the stories of the various ring wraiths. So you got to go and take out each ring wraith, and you're basically sending them back to, in the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, so the ring wraiths are all kind of really weak, and they got to
Yes.
You're the guy. You're the reason they're all weak. And when you take a ring wraith out before he get reborn, you hear his entire backstory of the human, why he became one of the 9, and they're really tragic and awesome. So that's really pretty cool. It's pretty neat. So you can't win at the end because this is all prequel to Lord of the Rings, but you're realizing that you're one of those things that help weaken Saruman to make the whole ring thing possible.
Okay.
But we'll see. I haven't got to the very end of it, but it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm trying to get it done because my daughters, for my birthday back last month, gave me Assassin's Creed Origins, which just looks insanely awesome. And my oldest daughter was playing it the other day, and she discovered that not only can you pretty much do anything, but she realized you could basically hop into a boat, kill the guys on it, and start paddling it around. Huh. And it was like one of those little Hawaiian boats. Yeah. You're in Egypt, but it looked like that. So she started singing the Moana song, which is pretty funny. Which
I was wondering how that was all going.
That's how it all comes together. So that's... I can't wait for that.
Where are they back in time? Is this the before?
So this is called Origins because it takes place right in Egypt before the Assassins existed. Oh, okay. So what you're learning about is why the Assassins came to be.
Hence the origin.
Hence Origins, exactly.
Okay.
So they're originally Egyptian, the whole Assassins thing?
Well, I think it's more the cradle of life from Egypt thing. So you're kind of, it all started back when life started.
Not to be confused with the circle of life.
Right.
To continue with
the whole Disney Assassin's Creed. Yes, exactly. Also, really enjoying The Punisher. Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man.
Enjoying is such a...
Let me put it this way. I got to the end.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. We have to do a lost chapter on this because
You know what we need to do? We need to bring a veteran on.
Yes, we should have a veteran on the lost chapter to talk about the impact of this show.
We may have been able to
probably can wrangle one of those up.
I think it's good. It's so good to watch because it's such a powerful.
I would say
medium.
Script-wise, story-wise, acting-wise, it might be the best Marvel Netflix TV show.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I would agree with that.
And my only hesitation when Russ said enjoy is that you experience it, or I at least experienced it on so many different levels, several of which are not enjoyment.
No, it's not.
It is rough.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is
So
rough.
it's almost like a Breaking Bad experience.
No.
Oh, worse and darker than that.
It's. I mean, I love Breaking Bad. I'm a huge fan of Breaking Bad.
too.
But Breaking Bad
But it could
was
be
more
exhausting to watch.
More you could, but at the same time, you kind of. This is so real world. Breaking Bad was not very realistic.
No,
I mean,
right.
I mean, you can say a lot for it, but it wasn't. This is. I feel like this gets almost too realistic.
Ooh, this is very.
And then
real.
takes a couple turns where I'm like, is that part of the realism that's making me uncomfortable, or is that not realistic? That's why we need to talk about it. Full blown spoilers.
Yeah,
with somebody who kind
really
of
good though. I enjoyed it for the sake it was. Yes, it was definitely there. Especially the last few episodes. There's a lot of
it's so cringing.
Yeah.
Well, there's I'm drawing a blank on the artist. I'll look it up during the break. But there's a run of comics with one artist. I want to say Frank Miller. It's not Frank Miller. It's he's that famous though. The best Punisher series ever done. And I'm wondering if it's
do they play it as being a veteran? Is that part of the comics?
Well, that's always been.
Yeah.
Well, I know, right? But it's not as. I mean, this is like in your face, in a good way.
It's not just the Punisher with a guy with a skull. Like this is like about Frank.
This is about Frank.
Happens to be the Punisher too, and
he wears his skull like twice in the whole season.
Yeah,
like, it's really not about that.
It's the best 12 graphic novel set. So lots of comics. That's so good. I'm wondering. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah. Really good. So that's my stuff. What about you, Raef?
All right, me. So I do have more in this category. So I've been playing lots of guitar.
Yes.
So some of you may recall. So we did 5. This will pertain to later.
Mm-hmm.
We did 5 backyard barbecues.
Cool.
So that was fun. And
I went to one of those.
Yes, that's right.
Enjoyed it a lot.
It was. It's been fun. We have a good time. So I'm doing that, trying to get my guitar licks up. My goal, I have a goal, is I want to try to learn how to play lead guitar. Right
Ooh, fancy.
Rhythm guitar. Doing some karaoke because singing's fun, and so Craig got to.
It's a lot more fun when you know the song.
You did awesome.
Well, thanks.
I pulled Craig in. It was my birthday, and we kind of ran out of stuff to do towards the end of the night. We weren't able to go scooter riding. We ran out of. The scooter guy that we use doesn't do it anymore, and so we didn't have a.
So the one year I could go,
no scooters for you.
No scooter ride. We did do an escape room, which was fun.
That's cool. Those are awesome.
And then I was like, let's do karaoke, and I pulled Craig into "Beer for My Horses," as I think,
which I had never heard before.
Sang before, so that was fun.
So I sat there for most of the evening listening to it over and over again on my phone, waiting with dread for
your moment.
He's in the place, there's music everywhere. He's got it in his ear, but Craig's theater major. He pulled it off. Been playing a little bit of WoW. Won't even bore people with that. Don't play Lord of the Rings online anymore. The game still exists, but none of the people I played with are still there. A little bit of WoW. Yeah, it's good. They're doing fun things, but playing still tons of The Division. That's the Tom Clancy game.
Yep.
I've played that game the most out of any Xbox game ever. Yep.
All right.
Pretty pumped. They have a new patch that came out called 1.8. It's a free patch. Tons of new content. So I'm excited to dive into that, but I haven't done it yet. And then I've been playing a lot of HOTS. Do you know what that is?
No, what's that?
No.
So that's one of the Blizzard games. What's really cool about Blizzard is you just go into their Blizzard launcher, and they have WoW, Diablo,
I know
Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, HOTS.
Yes.
And they have a Hearthstone.
Hearthstone,
and now Destiny 2.
Right.
So you just play all those games. So HOTS is a MOBA. So it's one of those massively online battle arenas.
Okay.
So you play these characters. There's like 102 characters.
League of Legends was the
League of
start
Legends
of that whole thing.
Is the other one.
Gotcha.
But this is the Blizzard version of that.
Right.
It's kind of fun because you're playing with any of the Blizzard content.
It's kind of a mashup of all the characters from the Blizzard games.
Yeah.
So you've got Overwatch. It's not Destiny 2, it's Overwatch.
Oh, they have Destiny 2 now.
Destiny 2's Blizzard?
You didn't catch that?
When did that happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
So Destiny 2, Bungie, right?
Yeah.
Decided, they said, you know what? Rather than try to create a whole community, let's just partner with Blizzard, which has a tremendously huge.
All right, cool.
And so they're using the Blizzard launcher to play Destiny 2.
So yeah, but so they got to put Destiny in Heroes of the Storm?
I wonder if they do.
That'd
they
be
might
interesting.
already, actually. Yeah. So that's pretty.
But you're like mixing up StarCraft with World of Warcraft with Diablo with
Yeah. So it's fun. So I play. So it's this thing where you play 5 on a side, 5v5. The games last like 20 minutes, And your character levels up within the game.
Okay.
But the more you know your character and the more you know your opponent, the better you do.
Does your character save from game to game, or is it in each battle he levels up?
In each battle he levels up. There's talents that you unlock as you go along, abilities. So when you get to level 1, you pick 1 out of 4. When you get to level 4, you pick 1 out of 4. So you can make different builds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was on this run where I'm like, I am the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, I am winning. I'm playing my character perfectly. It's great. And then what happens is they tier you and go, oh, he's doing better. And then they tier you with guys. And then
you
just
bump up to the next, the next league.
And you just get owned.
And you're out of your league.
Yeah, you're out of your league. But I was having fun with that. What else do I have down there? Phone keeps on logging.
You have your new podcast.
Oh, the new podcast, yes. I want to talk about Old Man's War. I think you'd like that. I've
read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that first. Yeah. So, Russ, have you heard of that one, The Old Man's War?
Yes, Craig talked about the show a while ago. I'm not ready yet, though.
I got that recommended to me. I read all 3 of the books. Yeah. Loved it. So good. So the premise for anybody who's listening is you're on Earth. What is it, Craig? 70?
I vaguely remember that I think I read it. So
you get to an old age. And you sign up, it's in the future, and you sign up with the military.
Right. It's John Scalzi's first novel.
Yeah. And you're scratching your head like, what's a 70-year-old or 60-year-old or whatever age it is? Why are they signing up for the military? That's weird. Yeah. And you don't know. They keep you behind the curtain. You're like the character.
Right.
And I won't ruin it for anybody, but you basically sign up for the military, and you leave Earth, and you go out into the interstellar universe. And I'll leave it there. Great book, good pulp read. The new podcast. I created a podcast. It's called The One-to-One. And it's, if you want to search it on iTunes, you do The One-to-One and you type in my name. The One-to-One by itself doesn't pop up, but that's the name of it. So The One-to-One, type in Raef. It's in my business world, putting my business hat on. I'm interviewing entrepreneurs. Actually, I want to interview the both of you. I want to interview Craig for his book writing, not the teacher part. And I want to interview Russ for his, how he got to where he was in his day job. And the goal of it is, I just have this thing where I like to go to cocktail parties. I was telling Russ this earlier, and I'd be like, so, hey, Russ, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm Chief Technology Officer. because it's just chit-chat.
This is actually vintage Raef.
Yeah.
It is old
school. It's actually baked. This old school. It's Raef driving down to Games Day.
Yes.
I want to ride in the car with the person I don't know and going, so what's your life story?
Yes, that's it. It's your origin story based on work. Yeah. Cool. So I do that. And I just started it. And so, after years and years of incubating it, I'm like, screw it. Time to do it.
So just for a correction, I'm not a chief technology officer.
Oh, what are you?
Head of product management. Slightly different.
How's it different, Russ? No,
you can interview me in a different episode for that.
You get a sample about the podcast.
There you go.
Now, Oathbringer.
Yes.
Written by Sanderson. It's the third book out in the Radiant of Kings.
Mm-hmm. Radiance, yes.
Radiance.
Yes.
I'm not liking it.
Really?
No.
I have not read it yet because it dropped in the middle of me trying to re-listen to Game of Thrones, the A Song of Ice and Fire. But I'm very intrigued because that was going to be my next purchase. So why are you not liking it?
I'm not liking it. I'm not like
How long? How far are you in?
Halfway.
It took me a long time to get into each of the first books.
No, I loved them. I got so behind. Who's the character that was the slave and he pushed the bridge for? Kaladin.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah. Now he's like spear-toting guy.
Yeah. So my problem is I'm like, I don't remember anything.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, no big deal. I'm an old fart.
So it didn't help you out? There was no sort of like gently reminding you in the book? No?
Not for me.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, so I went to Wikipedia or whatever, read a plot summary. Yeah. That burnt my brain. It was as if I never read the other two
very
books.
Involved. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's not that it's poorly written.
Of course not.
None of that. It's just maybe I'm at a Caliban's War or, the Old Man's War. I think I mixed the science fiction novel we all like. That's on the Sci-Fi Channel now. But I think it's just too deep. It's too involved. I can't remember anything that's going on. So anyway, not my favorite.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. So should I listen to the first two books first, or is it just not? I don't.
No.
Yeah, it didn't help.
No, I think you could just read the plot summary. Because it's taking the story from... It's not a continuation, like it's a big, long story. It's like, okay, now that all that's happened...
Oh, it's like a new introduction, like the world has now evolved, and now it's the next
And now
Really?
that's to me what it's like. It's not your favorite character in book 3.
Right.
It's like through the eyes of the same characters you recognize, but it's not their story anymore. It's a story being told from a different vantage point.
I don't know if that would hook me.
No, I'm not.
And I had a hard time getting into it the first time, so I don't know. We'll see.
It's not like the Honor Harrington series, in other words, where you're like, oh, it's
Right. Oh,
her,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
on an
yeah.
adventure
Yeah.
again. It's not like that.
Right.
So
It's like, well, he's like big into his world building.
that's huge world building.
Yeah.
And there's the gods things and the war, and I always feel like I'm like, who's
maybe
that?
he's telling a story that's maybe a little too big.
For me.
Yeah, you like the more human.
I like, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a 10 or 9 book story arc, too. That's what made me worry.
Is it? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, it might. Well, I mean, isn't that how he got his big break? Was jumping into the Wheel of Time.
That's what's
and
funny.
Finishing that up.
It almost reminds me of, like, I liked the Wheel of Time, just the little stories. I didn't like the whole big, massive world part of it.
Yeah.
So,
anyway. Well, that's interesting.
That's my story in the book.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
All right.
So for that just leaves me, and very quickly, Storm of Swords is where I am right now in my re-listening to A Song of Ice and Fire, and it's just crazy the tight plotting and the foreshadowing that he gets through those first few books. And
George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin. And the Red Wedding is like, when you listen, I'm like on my 5th or 6th time through, and no spoilers, but now I'm getting towards the Red
Can't there be
Wedding.
spoilers at this time?
Yeah, no, because I want anybody who, I wouldn't want to spoil anything for anybody, but specifically very large parts. But it's amazing to me, now 5 or 6 times through, that the Red Wedding is a surprise, but it is, because I'm like, he means that. Oh yeah, he means that. I mean, and to me, that's how tightly written this whole thing is, that he, like, as a writer, with an outline, I know basically where I'm going, and I can drop some foreshadowing in there, but he clearly is going backwards and forwards in his writing and smoothing things out forwards and back. I mean, it's the only way to get such tight foreshadowing and plotting in. So I think that's it's very impressive to me, and I'm really enjoying it. And I finished the Punisher, which we just talked about, and jumped into the last season of Longmire, which I love. I'm just a huge fan of Longmire, and I'm enjoying immensely I got a slow start for the first few episodes, and now I'm about I'm like 8 or 9 episodes in. And it's just a great show. I'm loving it, and it's going to be set.
What is it?
Over. It's called Longmire. It's based on some novels called the Walt Longmire.
Is it superhero stuff?
No. It's kind of like Justified. Did you ever watch Justified?
That sounds familiar.
It's Wyoming. It's a small town sheriff in Wyoming, in a county that borders on 2 Native American reservations. So there's a lot of the politics between of all that.
And this is Longmire, not Justified.
This is Longmire.
Okay.
And so you'd recognize, I can't remember her, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica. Did you remember that? Do you remember Battlestar Galactica?
Not the new one.
No? Oh, did you watch it?
Wow.
So it wouldn't matter to you.
That's a fail.
You
gotta go watch that.
She plays Starbuck, which means nothing to you now. So she's in it, and it's great. It's a really cool character story, and it's the last season, and they knew it was the last season going into it, so they've planned it all out as the last season, and they've sort of played with you, knowing that it's the last season, and there's only 3 or 4 ways a cop procedural show can end. That's very character based, and they're kind of playing with you, like, oh, is it going to end this way? Oh no, wait, no, we've cleared that up. Oh, it could end this way. Oh no. And there's like 3 or 4 reoccurring bad guys that have happened over the 7 or 8 seasons that it's existed, and they're all popping up, and you're like, oh, is this going to be the one? Oh, no. So it's there's no sense that everybody's safe. There's no sense that everybody's going to be happy, but at the same time, all the pieces are in place, so maybe everybody's happy, and it's a very well structured season. I'm really enjoying it. That's neat.
Okay.
All right, is that achievements?
That's achievements.
It's achievements.
And now, in an attempt to bring a small amount of dignity and decorum to this otherwise base form of entertainment, and I use the term loosely, I am proud to present...
Oh, get on with it. It's time for App of the Ep.
Seriously, Wakeland? I used to have my own segment, and now I'm relegating to announcing this pap...
Hey, you're lucky we still use you. Hey everyone, welcome to another App of the Ep. This time around, I do want to talk about War Room again. I know I mention it from time to time. I use it all the time because I still play a lot of War Machine. But also I wanted to point out that Privateer Press has updated the app to now support Company of Iron, which I am super excited about. I'm really enjoying Company of Iron, and we'll be reviewing Company of Iron next episode. Of course, this episode is our predictions episode, but next episode we will be reviewing Company of Iron. And it now is out on the War Room app. They did a neat thing with this. So they've now sort of got a mode switch right in the front of War Room, down in the right-hand corner. And by default, the War Room icon down in the right-hand corner looks like sort of that half War Jack, half War Beast sort of logo. But if you click that, you can then switch to Company of Iron mode, which sort of shows an icon of like a squad of dudes, right? And in Company of Iron mode, you do have to rebuy all the cards. So while for Company of Iron, most of the cards are the same, by buying the updated cards, and they're pretty affordable. If you buy just a single faction of cards, I want to say it's like $4. And if you buy all the cards for all the factions, which includes both War Machine and Hordes for Company of Iron, it's $19. So I didn't feel that was too bad getting a new game, especially if you have not yet purchased the entire Company of Iron box. This seems like a pretty great point of entry. What the app does is it also, in addition to helping you build your list for Company of Iron, it does a couple of cool things right out of the gate. First of all, as you will learn when we review the game, one of the things you get to do in Company of Iron is pick a special upgrade card for your leader from a set of 6 upgrade cards. And clearly they'll expand more of these. And you get these upgrade cards either by purchasing the Company of Iron box game set, which is kind of pricey because you're getting some models, or you can buy the deck online, or now you can get them in War Room. And the nice thing about the way War Room does it is both you and your opponent technically have access to the same set of 6 upgrades. But if you only bought one set of cards, because maybe only one of you bought the game, for example, then if you both want to choose the same upgrade, it's a little awkward. You got to kind of share it in the middle of the table or something. But what's cool now is the upgrade selection is right in War Room, which A, makes it easier for multiple players to have their favorite upgrade. B, it's right there when you're building your list to see the options, review what the rules do for each upgrade type. It's kind of like adding war gear to your hero, because basically your leader now is just a sergeant in a squad or maybe a solo. There's no warcasters or warlocks in Company of Iron. So that's kind of a neat feature right there. It's also pretty cool because it allows them to expand the different leader upgrades. And if the game does well, I would expect them to add a lot more of these cards, maybe faction-specific leader upgrades. Right now, there's a generic 6 set of them, that kind of thing. So that's really cool. The second thing that's really cool is that Company of Iron does not change the point values of models and units, right? So the point values they are in War Machine and Hordes are the same point values they are in Company of Iron. And a typical Company of Iron game is 20 points. The tricky bit is to make it fair, because not all the game balance is made at the army level. And so if you're picking a unit of, let's say, men of war, heavily armored men of war, and I'm picking a unit of light but not heavy hitting, infantry, that could be a tough battle because the men of war have much, much better armor, that kind of thing. Or maybe I've got a unit of a bunch of range guys and you don't. So the way to offset that is they also have something called a requisition cost. And today, without War Room, to figure out your requisition cost, you have to go look at a PDF file online. That's not a big deal. You download it to your phone, then you go look it up. But even if it's on your phone, while you're building your list, you got to go reference that, because what this does is a unit might have a rec cost of -1 or +1 or 0 or +2 or -2 or something like that. And what that does is that alters your hand size. So in Company of Iron, there's also a deck of cards that you use to play the game, and each player is a hand size. And this deck of cards has all kinds of cool stuff, which we'll talk more about in the review. Things like boosting attacks, making it easier to survive hits, all kinds of stuff. But for now, just know that more of those is better, and that units have different requisition costs that make that worse. And what's great is, or better, and what's great about the app is that number is right in the lower right-hand corner of all the cards now. So while you're building your list, not only are you making sure you're in the right number of points, not only are you limited to the models that are allowed in Company of Iron, because there's no large bases, no Focus or Fury-based models, generating models, so no casters, no warlocks. You can have medium-based war beasts and medium-based jacks. And then, of course, you don't attach them to things because there's no warlocks anymore. So you want to just bring a jack right in. So there's a slightly different army building mechanic, and it's nice that it's built right in. And then, of course, also, you get to reference the cards during the game and mark the wounds just like you would in War Room for War Machine and Hordes. But here's also a nice bonus because some of the core rules of War Machine have to change slightly with Company of Iron, and some of the units rules have to change slightly. And these are all available in the books. But if you're playing with cards right out of War Machine and Hordes, what you're going to end up happening is you're going to finding yourselves, oh, that's right, the combined range attack is slightly different in Company of Iron, so I've got to go look up over here. Or, oh, that's right, the way poison grenades work for Widowmakers is, or not for Widowmakers, but Iron Guard or Winter Guard, sorry, for Winter Guard is different. I got to go look that up. But now it's all right in the cards, and the cards have all been updated. So that just makes it easier too. So everything it does for War Machine, it does for Company of Iron. I'm really loving it. The game is a great way to bring life back. Not that there's anything wrong with War Machine and Hordes. I still love those things as well. But if you're looking for a quick 1 hour game, or maybe you've got a friend who has some War Machine models but has fallen out of love with the hobby for whatever reason, introduce him to Company of Iron. We'll talk more about this next episode. But while you're practicing and looking at it, don't forget to check out War Room, because everything you need for Company of Iron is right there.
Thank you for listening to another scintillating edition of App of the App, a segment in which,
Hey, less of that. More just getting on with the show.
seriously, Wakeland, you are like school in summer. No class.
Welcome back, and now it's time for my favorite segment of the year.
Yeah, buddy.
The time when I win prediction. Well, maybe not this year.
Often you
Maybe
do,
that's
though.
Not going.
It's more often than not.
Yeah, it's not going to happen this year because I
All right.
peeked at the results, and it's not looking good.
He who complains the most wins the most.
That's what I
Well,
say.
That's not really going to happen this year. So maybe it will make me like it more. Let's see if losing makes me like predictions more.
Well, in order to win or lose predictions, you have to have rules.
There have
and
to be
for
some rules.
listeners who are not aware, there is a set of rules. And for long-time listeners, it's probably good to review the rules as well, because we haven't played for about 12
I think
months.
it'd be good for me.
And for Raef. So here's how this
And
works.
for me, because I have to keep score.
So each of us is going to make 7 predictions.
Or made.
Well, yes, in 2017, we made 7 predictions back around December, almost a year ago today.
Yep.
And the first rule is that all your predictions must be quantifiable and measurable.
Yes.
All right, so you must include in your prediction some way that we can measure it.
Yeah.
The second rule is that each prediction you make is worth 1 point
Mm-hmm.
that you make correctly. It's plus 1 point for each host who disagrees with you
Yep.
if you are correct, right? So in other words, the more your prediction seems like a long shot, the more your prediction is going to be worth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If a host correctly or disagrees or agrees with you, they get plus 1 point if they're correct.
Yes.
But no opinion's an automatic minus 1 point.
Yes.
So we used to have this problem where people would simply not have an opinion, and that doesn't really work anymore. So basically, you must have an opinion.
Yes.
I mean, you can choose not to, but it's dumb.
Yep.
If you are incorrect, you are minus 1 point,
Ugh.
right? No matter what. No matter how you're incorrect, it's minus 1 point.
Yep.
Third rule is that all information must be public. None of us can be making predictions based on any industry insider information we may or may not have
Yep.
about these sorts of things. And then one rule we added last year, which I really liked, is you have the option to kick up your prediction a notch. So if you make a prediction and both of the co-hosts agree with your prediction,
It's not so much you have an option; you kind of have to.
well, you don't have to, but you might want to make it a little more of a...
That's true, because then it will be a wash. It will be a completely
Right,
pointless
right.
question.
So does that make sense, Raef?
Yeah.
You followed
But
along?
it's not a wash to the person. If I'm making the prediction and I
Yeah.
don't boost it, you guys get ahead by 1 point, right?
Well, no, everybody gets
No,
a point if
everybody
everybody's
gets a
right.
point. But if you're wrong,
But if you guys choose to
we
boost,
don't lose a point if
Right.
if you're wrong, but you do lose a point.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't boost it, or if you do boost it and you're wrong, and we don't change our opinion of it, then we're a plus 1 and you're a minus 1. So that's
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, so it gets crazy in there.
There's all kinds of meta going on here.
All right. And so Craig has got his able-bodied spreadsheet over there,
I do
ready to
indeed.
score what happened last year. And so we wrote all the predictions down. Of course, listeners, if you want to, you could have gone back and listened to last year's episode. Maybe you want to pause it to make sure. Keep us honest. Write us in if we've been.
Right. I did
100%.
listen to several of them.
Did you? Okay, good.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
Interesting.
Craig wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure. I had to go back.
So here we go. First off, round 1. Round 1. I will start just because this way I will, remind everybody how this works. So I predicted that, and I was very specific here, which got me into trouble. It did. I predicted Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so remember, it hadn't been out yet. This is December of last year. Would do better, the same or better than the first, with a Metacritic score of over 75.
Right.
And it would have a better financial opening weekend as well. So it would be as good or better from the critics, and it would be better financially also on the opening weekend. Sadly, and also, Craig disagreed with me.
I did.
Raef agreed with me.
Uh-oh.
And sadly, I was incorrect. It was actually only a 67 in Metacritic. I didn't even have to go to the numbers for the money.
But it didn't make as much money either.
So I was wrong, although I loved it. So I'm really sad.
As did I. Yep.
So that means that I score a...
you get a -1.
-1.
I get a 1.
Yes.
And Rafe gets a 0.
Yes.
And, look at the time! We have to call it!
No!
So
that's
this year, Craig
not how this works.
No,
That's how Craig wins.
No.
That's how he wins.
No. In the past, I have won validly. This time, it's going to take some serious shenanigans.
Right. We all know what's going to happen here now, Rafe. So, Rafe, what was your prediction in round 1 last year?
All right, I don't know where I came up with these. So sometimes I do, and these things come to me just right into my brain, but this year, not so much. Apparently not last year. I said Ryan Reynolds would play a third superhero in 2017, that it would be announced. He didn't have to be on the screen. Craig disagreed. Russ disagreed.
Yeah.
And I am wrong.
You are wrong. I don't know what you were thinking there. It was pretty, if I remember correctly, Craig, and I don't know if you listened to this one, but I remember this very clearly, and you and I disagree with him instantly.
Yeah.
It was like not even a thought process.
Right.
So that means, unfortunately for you, Rafe, you get another -1.
Yeah. That's how it's going to
Or you get a -1. Meanwhile, Craig and I each get +1. So I'm back at 0 now, which I'm excited about. Pretty good. So Craig is recording for us now. So,
I am.
So Craig, now that you've got the scores in there,
this one.
what was your prediction?
Well, I'm trying to do this.
All right. Math is hard. How are we doing over there? You under control?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Really not. Oh, you're back at 0.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm at 2.
Yes.
And Rafe is at -1.
Yes.
We can stop now if you want.
See, you're still doing great. All right. Well, let's see if you can let's get to your first round prediction.
Yeah, let's change that. All right. So I am on record as saying that Kickstarter is bad, and I get on these Kickstarters and I don't open the boxes, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to put my foot down in 2017
on yourself,
and I'm going to limit myself
to
two Kickstarters.
Of course you did.
And to be honest, I thought that was like a softball for me. I thought there's no way.
You came across that way.
No way.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so Mantic did their Terrain Kickstarter, and Terrain is really my weak spot. So I went in quite heavily on that. And then, Simon did A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yes. Yeah,
and I was on the fence about that, and I only did $1. And to this day, I would... this prediction episode could have saved me, because in my head I was arguing with the two of you. I only did $1 and that doesn't count, and I heard Ross complaining and explaining, and Rafe going, well, I don't know, the spirit, I get what Craig said. And I heard, and then ultimately I bailed anyway, so I went and did it. So I just went with the basic pledge, though, because I don't know about the gameplay. I don't really think the gameplay is going to be great, but the models were gorgeous. So that was a problem. But then while I was making that decision, of course, the Joan of Arc Kickstarter came out. Was the only game that really caught my eye. Well, that and Firefly Adventures by Gale Force 9. And that is just not on the horizon at all. Apparently has disappeared from the planet. And so I jumped in on that one too, and that was the third one. And then, thus a
failure.
I said... something that was not true.
Now, Rafe and I, though, knew you better than you knew yourself.
That's the best part about it.
And we both instantly disagreed with you. It wasn't even a thought process again.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, guys, seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
I got this.
This time I'm not. And we're like...
And we should have been like, well, he can totally choose what he does. So clearly he can win this easily. But we knew. The temptation...
Yeah.
Right.
He outbids himself.
I'm actually impressed you kept it to 3. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
I thought it's admirable work, but sadly, you still scored -1, while Rafe and I each get +1.
Woo! Yeah. So now it's tied at the end of round 1.
Yeah.
Rafe's at 0.
Yeah.
I have 1.
Yes.
Russ has 1.
All right, let's see what happens next in round 2. So in round 2, now this is interesting because it's kind of timely. So I said Microsoft's new console, a.k.a. at that time it was called Project Scorpio. It's now been launched and called Xbox One X.
Wait, it's called One X or just X?
Xbox One X is the full title. I said it would launch this year in time for Christmas to high critical praise. It will be 100% backward compatible, and at least 5 of our friends will own by Christmas.
As in this Christmas, right now?
Yes.
Like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Now, I am mostly right about this. I don't know about my 5 friends. I sent an email out, but not everybody responded. So it did come out in time. I actually have one myself. So it came out in time. It has gotten great praise, and it is 100% backward compatible. Oh. The only problem is I don't know if 5 of our friends own it. So that must have been one of those things where I boosted the thing.
Oh, wait.
So.
Wait, the points are all wrong.
Uh-oh.
Because I didn't count. I didn't figure in the bonus points for people who disagreed.
Okay.
It didn't matter because Russ was wrong.
Yes.
And it didn't matter because Raef was... Actually, it didn't matter because we were all wrong.
Oh, you're good.
Fine. All right, we're good.
Anyway, back to round 2.
Sorry, round 2. Yes.
So what do you guys think about this? It's a hard one to call because I don't know how many of my friends own it.
Who has them?
All right, let me check my inbox here real quick. You guys talk about yourselves. What do you think or not? What my odds are here?
I don't think we can let them off the hook if 5 folks don't have it because they probably boosted it or something.
I don't know. I don't remember. The problem is that points are going to be a little scarce on the ground for me this whole game, and I agreed with him. So I'm hardly an unbiased. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Here's the thing. I did get several responses. I have one.
Yeah.
Yep.
None of our friends.
Yeah, if nobody got it.
Nobody has responded they have it yet. Several people say they want it, but they don't have it yet. Actually, a lot of people responded. I can't find one of my friends that has it yet.
No.
And they're not going to get it before Christmas. So if they do get it, they're special.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to say I must have kicked it up a notch.
Yeah.
I must have kicked it up a notch. So it's -1 for me.
Yeah.
Craig agreed with me, so Craig gets no bonus point, but Raef did disagree.
Yeah.
So Raef gets a bonus point.
I knew you would just get it as an early adopter.
Yeah, I bet I did kick it up because I think you guys are like, oh yeah, that's all true. So
right.
All right, Raef. Craig, you get your points to figure out over there now?
Yeah.
All right, we'll wait to end of round 2.
It's easy when we're wrong.
Let's wait to the end of the round to compare our standings.
Okay.
So Raef, what was your round 2 prediction?
Raef and Russ, or Craig, apparently I allowed a stand-in,
Yep.
will play 4 games with me of War Machine in 2017, and all 4 games will be fully painted and occur in the first half of the year.
Uh-huh.
And
I don't think we got in 4.
I don't even think we got in 1. Maybe 1.
Or we got in at least a couple, but not 4.
Yeah, no, not 4. So I failed miserably on that.
All right. So
I
Craig,
said you would not.
You did. So +1 for Craig.
And Russ said you would.
He thought we would.
So I get nothing. But Raef gets a -1 and Craig gets a +1. So Craig, I think let's wait and see. So
all right.
Craig, what was your round 2 prediction?
Well, I was all caught up in Raef's band fever.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I said that Raef was going to have at least 2 public venues, gigs where they would get paid in places of business in 2017.
Yeah.
Raef, being the positive person that he is, agreed with me, and Russ, being that old curmudgeon of the group,
I guess so,
said disagreed, and
Negative.
I believe I was wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah, we played no public venues.
Yeah.
We did play 5 backyards, and we were paid money, but they were not businesses or public venues.
Right.
All right. That means I get +1 and Craig is -1.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, Craig. So at the end of round 2,
yes.
How are we looking thanks to your highly technical Excel macro skills?
Funny that you should ask that, Russ. Every one of us got a point and lost a point.
So
which means it is unchanged as of round 2.
All right.
Raef is at 0. I am at 1. You are at 1.
All right. It's a nail biter. See, you think it's going to be wiped out. It's a nail biter.
A low-scoring match.
All right.
It is.
This was a rough round for me. Round 4.
Round 3.
Round 3.
Was round 3 a rough round for you?
All right. Oh, yeah, I did skip round 3. I went to round 4. Round 3. This isn't looking good either. So round 3, I all excited about Mass Effect Andromeda, which I did end up buying and solving. And my oldest daughter Rose also loved it. Played it all the way through to the end. We really enjoyed it. But I was really excited about this, and I said it would be the highest rated Mass Effect game for Xbox, yet on Metacritic. I was wrong. Andromeda scored a 74, which is a respectable score, but Mass Effect 2 was a 94, which is an amazing score. It did not even come close to the grand heights of earlier titles. So sadly, I was incorrect, which is -1 for me. Craig wisely disagreed with me.
I did.
So, Craig,
It just didn't feel right. Just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I agreed with you?
You did.
Oh.
You did agree with me on that. So sadly, a little movement there for Craig.
I would have done that.
Well, Rafe, what were you thinking when you got into round 3 yourself there?
I'm just mad I agreed with you. I usually know when you're drinking your own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So I said that I will play Shadows over Brimstone.
Yeah.
5 or more times in 2017.
Yeah.
And
it sounded so plausible.
Yeah, I'll talk about it, but Craig agreed and Russ, being the curmudgeon, disagreed. Now,
I did.
I was, at that time, in a very
You were.
committed game group
Yeah.
here in Portsmouth,
You
and we were
were.
playing all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a no-brainer. I don't even think I played it. I can't even remember playing it after you
Rafe,
said it.
Right.
You should know that past performance is no indication of future events.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So
how did that work out for
I
you?
lost that one.
No, it did not happen. So that is a -1 for Granger and a +1 for Wakeland.
Yes, indeed. And sadly, yeah.
That's what I said.
Not so good for me.
Oh, what were you thinking, Craig, in round 3 there for yourself?
Sadly,
It's a
not
rough year for
only.
predictions.
Well, yeah, this is a bad one because clearly I missed on several levels, on several predictive levels. I said that on December 15th, 2017,
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 8, which we didn't even know the title of when we did this.
Mhm.
Of course, it is The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Will open strongly, at least within 10% of The Force Awakens. And then, of course, we got into a giant mathematical argument with Russ, where I was saying at least within 10%, and Rafe agreed with me that at least within 10% meant if it blew it away, then it was okay. And Russ, not only was he getting all like, well, mathematically, blah, 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 then he got all snarky and went, well, we might get some emails about what within means. So it was very, very, very typical all the way around.
It was.
The three of us. Sadly, what I did not predict correctly at all was when we would be recording the prediction episode, which is 5 days before the 15th.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think you get retroactive points on this.
I agree.
Oh, yeah?
So let's do 2 things at this juncture.
Uh-huh.
At this moment, we will assume you are correct.
Really? Because I'm assuming I'm incorrect.
Why do you think you're going to be incorrect?
Just because I think you guys forced me to boost this.
Well, let's do it this way. If you were incorrect, how many points?
I don't think I would have put a percentage.
Well, right somewhere on the side of your Excel spreadsheet.
I got it right there.
Okay. Note down that if you are correct on this one,
right,
you will get +1.
You don't get a point. Rafe gets a point.
Yeah. Are you doing the bonuses? People disagreeing with you too? Have you been doing that?
Oh, so far none of us have gotten anything
right. Okay. So you would get 2 points on this one.
Oh, that's true.
Because I disagreed with you and you were right.
Yes, I would get 2 points.
Right?
Yes.
And if you are wrong, you're -1 and I get 1 point.
Right. So I'm actually scoring it as if it's wrong. Because I think it's a reach.
But it's a 2-point swing between the two of us. It's actually a 3-point swing.
I have that noted.
Just because people can retroactively reverse the score on this thing.
Right.
If by the end of the month we find out.
That's
because I don't think he should be penalized for one.
Yeah. It's just happened to record this way.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to matter, but
that was a good
one. No,
okay.
that's okay. So at the end of round 3, theoretically, assuming that I did not that The Last Jedi did not do as well, Rafe is now at -1.
Yeah.
I am at 1 and Russ is at 2.
And no one's actually been correct on their main prediction.
None of us have been.
That's why we haven't had to worry about the bonus points for disagreeing.
Exactly.
So we're now going into round 4. So we're passing the halfway mark.
Yes.
And none of us have been correct about our primary prediction.
Even the ones that we can control ourselves.
Which is why the bonus points for disagreeing are so important.
Exactly.
Right.
We have failed ourselves as well as the D6G.
Even though we controlled our own future. Right. All right. This has not been a strong year for us. 2017. Yeah. All right. Round 4. I am not going to break the trend of total failure here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so excited about this game, but I think I just saw it and was really excited about it. But Titan Wars, the board game, will do well, I was saying.
Yeah.
At least 3 copies will be owned in our group. BGG rating will be higher than Battlelore. The game got delayed. Isn't even out to 2019. Didn't even make the cut. I don't even know what's going to come out at this point. It looks really bad. So that's a -1 for me.
Yep.
both of you were smart enough to disagree with me. I don't know if I was drinking that day. I don't know what
I
happened.
don't. Could have been. Maybe you just ate a giant burger.
I don't know.
It could have been beef drum.
That was just me throwing away points. I don't need round 4.
Too bad though. That would have been great for you. You would have been. You would have.
I don't know.
You would have done what Raef is about to.
It would have been a good one. So that means that both of you get +1 and I get -1.
Yep.
So Granger,
All right.
what did you think in round 4?
This is
My favorite comic, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So the new Spider-Man Homecoming, we didn't know that. I just said the new Spider-Man will score 90% or above on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes.
This was a bold prediction.
It was.
Because most Spider-Man movies, not that they're awful, but they haven't been amazing.
No, correct.
Pardon. See what I did there? So this one was amazing. I think everybody loved it. We loved everything about it. This is a very bold prediction. And it was so bold that Craig and I were like, no way. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, Raef, you got max score, right? What was the final? What was the score for?
So Craig disagreed. Russ disagreed.
Yeah.
And it got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's a +3 for Raef.
That is a
Marissa
+3.
Tomei. You put her in a movie and boom.
I can't disagree with that.
Right.
All right.
Maybe
So, Craig,
maybe I'll have coffee with her.
I'm sure you're about to bring us right home with this next one.
Oh, absolutely. This is where I really came into my glory.
Oh, yes.
So I said, and I actually went, not only did I go back and listen to this.
Did you?
To make sure what was really happening.
Okay.
I went back to my original notes.
Okay,
I took
fair.
out my original notes just because I was like, I could not have possibly said that. Not only did I say it, but I meant to say it, which is just bizarre. I said that in 2017 there would be no minis game that comes out that both Russ and I go all in on. What I meant...
Has there been a year this hasn't happened? Actually, I don't think there has.
What I meant... because what I meant was true.
Right.
What I meant was that we didn't already know about, because we already knew about Star Wars. But that's not what I... Not only is that not what I said...
Right. I called you on it right
down.
Right.
And within 30 seconds, Russ called me on it, and I quote from the recording, if we could go to the tape, please. Well, you're wrong, and I can tell you. You want to know why? Right now. I can tell you why. You want to know right now why?
That sounds familiar.
You want to know right now why? I'll tell you. Rune Wars. And then I went, no! And then I went, and then I tried to weasel my way out and said, if I get it for free for writing, then it doesn't count. And then I went and bought a bunch more anyway.
Even that didn't save you anyway.
No,
right.
it wouldn't have saved me anyway.
So
clearly, Russ and Rafe passed their role for listening.
Right, for fumble.
Knew immediately.
Immediately. We're like,
it was like
just
it didn't take a second.
it's like the Kickstarter one.
I think you and I were almost the only pause was that we were momentarily dumbstruck with this prediction.
That he served us.
It's like
was
the softball floating
the
up
plan,
there.
I was hoping against hope that I would just floor you with the idiocy and then sweep the rest of the game.
But
sadly, as Russ pointed out 30 seconds after I made the prediction, Russ and I did go very heavily into Rune Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
No.
So that was
what I was actually saying was in the 2 previous years, the big game for us had been something we had never even known about the preceding year. We picked it up during that year and went all in the year it came out.
Not even knowing
about it going into the year, and that didn't happen. So, spirit of what I meant, I'm okay. I'm all set because Rune Wars was our big game of our big new game of the year. And it's been very exciting for me because this is maybe the first time in my life that I've been playing a science fiction game and a fantasy game sort of at the same time. Like 1 week I'll play 40K and the next week I'll play Russ and maybe Jeremy eventually with Rune Wars. Yeah. Which is very exciting. So it's an exciting time. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'll embrace my
That means
loss.
-1 for Craig.
Rafe.
And +1 for Rafe for Russ.
Rafe. In round 4, and this may be the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah.
Max points for the whole round.
Yeah. Wow, Rafe. Give him a high five here. Look at that.
5 points.
In-person high five.
Yeah. Sadly, Russ and I are a wash in round 4.
Okay, that's fair.
And what that results in is Rafe is now at 4 points.
Wow. Nice.
I'm at 1, and Russ is at 2.
All right. So round 5 comes in here, and I thought this was great because listeners will know that we don't compare the predictions we make with each other before we make them.
That's right.
So Craig came in and made this prediction, which, as Craig mentioned, I immediately called him out. I said, we forgot about Rune Wars. And then my next prediction was about Rune Wars.
Yeah.
And it was the exact opposite of his, which was I was certain that Rune Wars was going to do a bunch of things.
It wasn't the opposite of mine because mine had nothing to do with Rune Wars.
Okay. So first, I said that Rune Wars is going to come out or at Adepticon 2017.
Which it did.
It came out at Adepticon.
Yep.
I said that both Craig and I will own a copy.
At least one.
Which we did. We actually own more than one. We were given one each at Adepticon because everybody
we each
was.
bought one.
But then we haven't bought one each. And at least one additional faction will release before the end of the year. Actually,
Two have come out.
both additional factions have been released. I said that the BGG rating will be at least 7, and it is 7.7.
Nice.
And this was max points because both of you disagreed with me on this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So awesome.
That was huge.
So I feel pretty good about that one. So that is a 3-pointer for me.
Yep.
Which I will gladly take.
That was big.
Yeah, and I'm really, as you mentioned, we already talked about we've really been enjoying Rune Wars. So, all right.
Mine was Russ will play another different campaign game other than the ones that he had been playing multiple times with a dedicated group that plays 5 or more times. So I was thinking it'd be like Descent or that naval one or something that came out. And that you wouldn't know about it in December 2016. It would hit you in 2017. You'd get it, you'd play it. And Russ disagreed, and Craig disagreed, and the correct answer is Russ.
You're close but incorrect. So I did play Seafall many times, but I had started playing it before the end of last year.
Yeah.
So it did not count as a net new. And our group stayed with that. So sadly you're wrong. So -1 for Raef.
You were also the unintended victim of the fact that his group is fracturing at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, because, due to timing. People getting jobs and shifting jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Priorities, people.
So that was a good one for Craig and I, +1 each.
Yeah.
And -1 for Raef. Craig, how'd you do in round 5?
Well, I'd like to keep the hits coming, Russ. Because you guys have both now gotten one correct, and I just think that's just not very kind.
We each had a max score, Raef. High point. Right, everyone's again.
No, you don't have a max
All
score
right.
yet.
I did.
I got max score the whole round.
Oh,
no.
No.
I meant for a single question. All right.
Oh, look, I just gave a spoiler.
Boo. Yes.
What I said, I must have been in a pessimistic mood. I don't understand why. I'm usually such an optimist.
Usually, yes.
I said that currently, at the end of 2016, the games category on Kickstarter was at 33.95% success rate. Slightly below the 35.81% average. I said by this time in 2017, the number for game Kickstarters would have fallen. And to clarify, it had to be below 33.95, not the same or above. You guys both disagreed with me because you are bright and shiny, sunshiny, rainbow, and unicorn.
Oh, yeah.
People. Yep. And I was wrong!
You were wrong.
Games are now at 35.66.
Yeah.
So that's quite a nice little boost.
Yep.
And overall, is still a little bit better, 35.93. So the overall went up a little bit, and games went up a couple percentage points.
Yep.
So that is a point for Russ, and a point for Raef, and a negative point for me, which gives Russ a full perfect score round.
Yeah! So what are we at now for score at the end of round 5?
Well, this is just embarrassing, and exactly where I thought I would be. Raef is at 4.
Yeah.
I am at 1, and Russ is at 7 points.
Ooh, that's feeling pretty good, but I feel like I have room to error between now and the end. And just to show how much I can throw this thing, let's go into round 6, because in round 6, I made I should preface this by saying that Iron Fist is one of my favorite comic books.
Yeah.
So I kind of was really excited about this show. And so Iron Fist, which came out in the spring, this is back in December of last year. So I said, well, I think Iron Fist is going to be great. Just for fan reaction, it's probably the least favorite of all. Anyway, I said it would get renewed with over a 75 on Metacritic. Badly, don't even have to go to the renewal status because the Metacritic score of Iron Fist is 37. 37.
Yeah, it was no.
So I crashed and burned on that one. Raef wisely disagreed, but Craig thought I was going to be okay on this. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I get -1, and Raef gets +1.
Right. What about the Luke Cage and Jessica Jones?
Well, it didn't matter because I was wrong about them.
No, I just wondered. Did they get
canceled?
No, they both got picked up.
They both got even Iron Fist got renewed. That's because they're just passionate about keeping the whole thing going. But. Rafe.
This is my favorite one.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah, this one is bizarre to me, and even more bizarre that Russ agreed with it.
I just felt they should.
My prediction was that Reese will be practicing with Greg in karate and will kick Greg in the
I just like the idea of this one so much, I had to agree. This is a brilliant prediction.
To see if it's true.
We would like to know if it's correct or if either part is correct.
Okay.
Has he ever kicked you in the privates, regardless of the karate?
No.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert.
Boo.
Also, coincidentally, this year his interest in other sports expanded to the point where karate went by the wayside.
Oh my gosh, I could have been more off.
Oh yeah. No, sorry.
So sadly,
you lose a point. Russ does not gain a point, and I, for having faith in my son or in my own reflexes,
right,
gained a point. So thanks. I feel like that's a pity point right there.
There you go.
Okay.
That would have been good.
So now, ready for a fight.
All right, here we go.
Round 6.
Yeah.
I said Games Workshop's profit number would not be negative.
Okay.
I believe that is true.
Okay.
Their profits this year were 38 million pounds. They are now the most successful stock on the British Stock Exchange.
Yes.
Which is bizarre.
Yep.
So that's
well, there's no fight there because you said that you were nice and clean. They wouldn't be negative.
No, the fight was last year.
Last year because you had a percentage increase, which got us interested.
Yeah.
But just being not negative is pretty clear.
Yeah.
And it was a good prediction because Rafe and I both disagreed with you.
That is true.
Yeah.
And they're killing it this year, I gotta say. That's an awesome prediction and nicely done. You get max points, so +3 for you.
Max point on that. No, sadly, because I had faith in Russ, I did not get max points for the round.
Yes.
But so I'll take that.
All right.
Yep.
Moving into the final round.
At the end of round 6, though, it's bizarre.
Okay.
Rafe is at 4.
Yeah.
I am now at 5.
Ooh.
Russ is at 6.
Oh, this is a nail biter. Anything can happen around 7. And the bonus round could be the tiebreaker.
Yep.
And the whole Star Wars prediction, because that still includes you being wrong about Star Wars. If you're right about that.
That's true, yeah.
You know, The Last Jedi, you got a lot right on this movie.
That's true.
It's almost like someone should take you there for free just so you can see how it's going to work out.
Maybe with some themed food.
All right, we'll figure that out.
And some swag.
All right, here we go. Round 7. All right. In 2017, I said, in round 7, it'll be the year we start to see I was really optimistic about this. I was just a little ahead of my time, I think. We start to see 3D printing impact our hobby in exciting new ways beyond just rapid prototyping. I said that today there's libraries of terrain and there's tokens that are free, but by the end of the year, there'll be at least one major gaming company selling licensed 3D printable objects. So you'll be able to basically buy the reference material and then print them out, right? And there'll also be at least one fully printable new miniature board game available. So you basically download the entire game and print it out for yourself to play. And I said, when I said main, I meant something like Weird or Privateer or Fantasy Flight or Spartan or Warlord or somebody we'd all heard of. Sadly, now, Rafe, you agreed with me. So I don't know if you'd like the cut of my jib on this one or what. Craig was more wise. He's like, there's a lot going on here. I'm going to say no, right?
Yeah, that's the only reason, because there was a lot going on. Russ overthinks his predictions.
Well, I wanted this one to be really like, I always want one prediction that's kind of like really into the future, like really pushing the envelope.
And it was, you know how far it was into the future?
It's this
2018.
year. Yeah, probably. I probably should. And I did not repeat our prediction because I think that's cheap, but I should have. I feel like there should be a 1 year gap.
Cheap? I got to go back to that.
Maybe. I don't know.
You can do it.
Anyway.
You can do it if you want.
So sadly, I'm wrong on that one, Craig.
Yes.
So -1 for me, but +1 for you, sir.
For us.
I think you can do it because we might just.
Well, it makes it a softball, maybe. Yeah.
Right. You might have to boost it.
Yeah, okay.
But I think you can have
Boost that? There's already a paragraph.
If he were to do it.
All right. Granger, what did you say in round 7 last year?
I said the new game by Uwe Rosenberg, A Feast for Odin, and that I would play it 3 times, but say that I like Agricola better.
Okay.
Due to my extreme honesty, this may blow your mind. I do recall that I believe I played it 3 times. I don't have a firm memory of that, but here's how I came to that. Captain Con happens in the new year. After
February. Yep.
So I know I played it.
Right.
So I would have played a child game. I would have played another game, which I remember, playing 2 games kind of back-to-back to be like, let's play it again now that we learned the rules. And I'm 99.99% sure that I played it again before the weekend.
Okay.
Not sure that I like Agricola better, though.
Oh.
Really?
Well, we got to trust your honesty on this. What are you going to
I
say?
had faith in your love of Agricola, and you failed me for the last time, Granger.
I'll tell you why. A Feast for Odin takes some of the things that are broken in Agricola.
Like the whole game?
It makes it better. No, not the whole game.
Broken indicates some form of unfairness, not just a general malaise of unfun.
Well,
right.
Let me just start with the part of that I think's broken, which is the enjoyment part. Does it fix that part? No.
Yes, it fixes
Okay,
that.
good.
There's a part in Agricola with the handed cards that I don't like that you have to... I house rule it, and then it makes the game way more fun. And actually, it's in the rules, too, to play it that way. But A Feast for Odin does that as codified.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
So, as much as I hate to do this, I like Feast of Odin better.
Ouch!
Oh, snap!
Russ,
Well, Raef, I appreciate your honesty. I almost want to give you a free point for that. So that means that Raef is -1, and I disagreed with you. So +1 for me. Probably on the premise I'm just anti-Agricola. So,
Probably. Right.
But I'm really excited that you are now more. You found a game you like more than Agricola. So that's good.
All right.
All right, Craig, bring us home here.
It comes down to this.
Yeah.
I said, and this is very odd because I'm not a big DC fan.
Yeah.
I think, you know what this one was? This one was, I hate predictions. I'm just going to give a throwaway prediction.
All right.
And I think they're the most accurate.
And I said either Wonder Woman or Justice League would beat any one of the MCU films of 2017 in either Rotten Tomatoes or Box Office Mojo.
Yep. That was a bold prediction because DC
is
so bold. I just disagree with you right there. Boom. I was like, no,
boom.
No way.
And Raef is just a big comic book guy.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that Wonder Woman saved my life.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Thank you, Gal Gadot. Rotten Tomatoes, 92%.
Yep.
Which didn't beat, we'll get that in a second, but did beat, it got $4.12 million, which is a pretty darn good opening.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. It beats Guardians, right?
That shouldn't be 4 point. It should be 4.
That seems low.
Yeah, it's 412 million.
There you go.
Guardians of the Galaxy was at 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a travesty, and made 389 million. And what was Spider-Man was at 92%, which we've already covered. So it didn't beat Spider-Man in the Rotten Tomatoes, but it did beat it in the Cume because Spider-Man made 334 million, and Thor Ragnarok, which is also at 92%. So 92% is the big number.
It's like the max out on a hero movie.
A max out on the hero movie. Yeah. But Thor only made 294 million.
Right.
So Wonder Woman tied the best with Rotten Tomatoes, but crushed it on the box office. Yep.
Impressive. But you didn't even say. You just said you had to beat one.
I only said you had to.
So
beat one.
you were very correct on this.
Yeah, you're very correct.
And I disagree with you. So you scored 2 points.
Did. I get 2 points for that.
And Raef gets a point.
And you get a point.
So going into the bonus round now,
round.
You predict who was going to win, which gives you a bonus point to see if you can break who was winning.
Right.
Pretty much designed for tiebreaker. What is our final score here, Craig, going into the bonus round?
Going into the bonus round, Raef has 4 points.
Ooh, that's respectable.
Russ has 6 points. I have 8 points.
Whoa! You thought you were going to lose. See? He said he was going to lose again, Granger. He always wins this stupid thing.
This is ridiculous.
He always wins.
Every year.
And that's without counting Star Wars, right?
Ridiculous.
That's the Star Wars being wrong. You probably broke 10, which might be your largest victory ever.
Right, yeah.
I really honestly thought I was going. I mean, I know, but you know what? I got 2 out of 7 right.
And I remember this part too.
You know where the points are? The point swings are in those who.
Yeah.
People disagreeing you when you're
it's a very clever mechanic.
And it's
thank our listener for that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Right.
You had won so many times in the past. I remember Raef and I talking about the bonus predictions. We said it couldn't happen again.
Yeah,
right.
So none of us picked you for the winner.
It's because we fall prey to that trigger like,
right. He talks himself down again, and we fall for it every time.
Really
every time we fall for that.
I thought this was
ridiculous. Well, congratulations, Craig, again.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is this how many years in a row now? We need like a record keeper.
You know what? The bonus round is Russ says Raef's going to win. I say Russ is going to win. And here's how Craig even sells it. He's like, I'm not going to pick me.
Right.
I'm going to pick Russ.
I will do it.
I
can't possibly.
And
then he throws out these crazy predictions like a DC movie is going to beat a Marvel movie. And look what happens. Cats and dogs
That's
living together.
okay.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
going back to my Marvel roots for the predictions for 20.
All right, well done, Craig. We're going to take a break. We'll hear from Total Fangirl. Then we'll be back with next year's predictions right after this.
Where I'll lose.
This is Total Fangirl. Regular Jane most days, total fangirl when the moment strikes. Han shot first. Starbuck is a guy. And Lestat, now there's a vampire. Hey everyone, this is Nicole, your Total Fangirl. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicole Wakelin. And our shout out this week goes to all of our wonderful supporters over at Patreon. Head to patreon.com/the D6 Generation, and you too can support the show. I had the opportunity to do something last week that I will probably never get to do again. That was pretty amazing. Because of Nissan being in a partnership with Lucasfilm, they invited a small group of people out to Los Angeles to see the latest movie, The Last Jedi, on opening night at El Capitan Theater. And they had us stay in the Roosevelt Hotel, which is where a whole bunch of movie premieres, like the after parties, happen either on the penthouse rooftop or sometimes they happen like in the mezzanine level and they'll block off the whole mezzanine. Well, Nissan invited us out for this, and we not only got to go see this movie on its opening night, which was pretty amazing, but they even did up our hair and did makeup. A couple people they helped dress up like characters. There were some Jedis running around, which was neat. And then we got to go in and we sort of walked the red carpet past all these the cars that they had done up to look like Star Wars vehicles. And we got all sorts of cool loot, and we got to see the movie. It was really an amazing experience. And to be able to go over there and see it and be one of the first people in the country to get to see it was fascinating. They had us in a theater where they had done one of those marathon stretches where they had watched all of the movies leading up to The Last Jedi. So there were people that had been there for, I think they said it was like 30 hours. It was a crazy amount of time. We were not there that long. We did other stuff throughout the day. They had us driving around Los Angeles taking pictures with a little pop vinyl version of BB-8, which was very fun and very cute. And then we came back to the hotel, and that's where we got all ready. And then we got to see the movie. No spoilers, guys, because I know a lot of you won't have seen it yet, which I liked. It was great. I had a good time watching the movie. But just to see it in that kind of environment and to see it with people who were excited enough to have spent basically more than a day just sitting in a movie theater watching movies was pretty cool. And they had a neat surprise. So this was sponsored by The Nerdist, which is Chris Hardwick is The Nerdist, basically. He came out on stage to introduce the movie before it started. And they had the director who also came out on stage to introduce the movie. And they talked to all of us a little bit about Star Wars and what the movie meant and how how it was made and the excitement about creating something that they really hoped fans would love. And Chris was just being a nerd, and the director was being all Mr. Excited Director. It was very fun. And then it started, instead of just the movie starting and seeing the standard previews, they had a little like light show beforehand. So there was this laser light show that kind of lit up the entire auditorium, and then they had an actress on stage who looked like Rey, and she's there dressed as Rey, and she has a lightsaber, and the lightsaber, glows when the rest of the stage is dark. And there's a giant walker behind her, sort of just as a theatrical introduction to the movie before it started. So it was a pretty incredible experience that was followed up by heading back over to the Roosevelt and going behind the velvet rope and going upstairs to the penthouse on the rooftop and having a little rooftop after party with a couple of celebrities there, which was fun. And we had BB-8 and we had R2 and we had some stormtroopers, so you got to get your pictures taken with characters from the movie, which was also pretty cool. So an amazing experience to get to see that movie on opening night in LA with a little bit of star treatment there to go along with Star Wars. And I was super excited, thrilled to be able to do this, thankful that I got to do it. Had a great time at the party, and I'm hoping everybody gets to go see The Last Jedi soon. I enjoyed it. I know there's some people that love it and some people that are giving it a little bit of hate, but I think if you like Star Wars, I mean, you know what? It's Star Wars. I feel like anytime we get more Star Wars, we take it. So that was my Star Wars ultimate fangirl moment, and it was fantastic.
Hey, welcome back. And now it's time to talk to you about our favorite way to transport our precious models from point A to point B.
Oh, yes.
And that, of course, would be Battle Foam.
Battle Foam, hoorah! So, yeah, our buddies at Battle Foam, again, just the absolute best way to transport your models. And they have every way you could possibly imagine, whether it's foam in a bag that I'm even hesitant to even call it a bag, in a rock-solid plastic impenetrable, could take a shot from a bullet or be run over by a truck case if you want, right down to nice, very affordable soft-sided cases, backpacks. If you want to be able to organize your trays in cardboard boxes and then just pick the favorite ones to put in a nice bag, you can do that too. Yeah. Just anything you need, a range of offerings from affordable to high-end.
Everything from cardboard to survive a nuclear blast.
Exactly, including magnetic trays, too. If you don't want your miniatures touching anything but air, they can do that for you as well.
That's the latest trend.
It is.
Battle Foam is on that with you, too. No foam involved.
Yeah. And we were
all Magnarax.
And they also keep their eye on any of those board games that come out that also include miniatures. So they keep an eye, Company of Iron just dropped, which is technically a miniature game, but it's got a nice board game box, got a bunch of models in there. Get everything you need. But foam goes right inside the box, holds everything for you, organizes it. All those cool mini or not games, they can take care of those for you. You name it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game has a great set of miniatures in it.
Necromunda just came out. You've got the Necromunda foam kit. You've got the Shadespire foam kit. You've got all the Death Guard. Oh, I just got my Mortarion, my giant Primarch model. They've got beautiful foam for him. Really, anything that's on the hottest of hot list, they've got foam for. And if they don't have the foam for it, they have their awesome custom foam creator, which is fun to just play around with even when you're not ordering foam.
Exactly. So check it all out at battlefoam.com.
Hooah!
You're listening to the Dice Tower Network at dicetowernetwork.com. More fun than Merchant of Venus. Wait, what?
Who writes these?
Hey, welcome back. So we heard the results of 2017.
Yes.
And unsurprisingly, Gallant
is a surprise to one of us.
Gallant is, again, the master of the prediction. Raef and I were talking about this off the air. We need a listener to come back and tell us the total win-loss ratios. We've never figured this out. Yeah. But I kind of feel like Craig is dangerously close to eclipsing us.
Yeah, bagling us.
So it's almost like, what's the margin each year going to be for the win? We should start recording this in board game apps, like the little board game record thing. I should do that. Yeah. If I'm going to start doing that. Anyway, so here we go. Again, if for some reason that is inexplicable, you fast forwarded right to this segment.
Right.
And you skipped the results segment.
You just chose.
Which might happen.
A, spoilers, you just found out Craig won. But B, more importantly, here are the rules real quick. First of all, we all have made predictions.
Yep.
No one has seen each other's predictions. So none of us know what each other has thought about. Nope. So we might have the same prediction, although we're pretty good about not doing that. Secondly, the first rule, all predictions must be quantifiable.
Yep.
So we all try to hold ourselves to that standard. 2, each prediction you make is worth a point, and it's +1 for each person who disagrees with you.
Yep.
Right? And you get a -point if you are wrong. Right?
Right. Yep.
Also, all information in your predictions must be public. So you can't be doing anything if Craig's doing a job at Privateer Press or Fantasy Flight Games or whomever, he doesn't get to use that information. And finally, if everybody agrees with your prediction and you decide you're not going to get enough points, you can always kick your prediction up a notch. To boost it, right? A boost mechanic.
It's all about the boost.
To see if you can get a few bonus points out of that. Sound good?
Yeah, got it.
All right, here we go. We're going to do 7 rounds. For round 1, we're going to start with Raef, our third chair here. Raef, what is your first prediction for 2018?
Big shocker, Star Wars.
All right.
Okay. Star Wars 8.
8. The one that's coming out in 5 days.
Correct.
Yes.
Will do better than Star Wars 7. Which listeners...
So basically, you're doing the prediction that we just hung for a week on this episode, on last year.
Right.
Okay.
Listeners may recall, maybe, I'm not a huge fan of episode 7. I don't like it at all. Matter of fact, I like episode 1 better than I like episode 7.
Right.
Okay?
That's how much you mean episode 1, not episode 4.
He means Jar Jar.
I mean...
Yeah.
He's always been a big fan of Jar Jar.
He has been a fan of Jar Jar. It's really Darth Maul, let's be honest. That lightsaber duel is amazing.
That's true. And
the music's great.
Quantify this, but it'll be a better story than A New Hope Rewind. Which is,
so what is your way to quantify better? Are you doing? You're going to use Rotten Tomatoes? You're going to use box office? What are you doing?
So I didn't look it up because I'm lazy.
Okay.
So whatever the score was.
So it'll be higher in Rotten Tomatoes than... So The Last Jedi will be higher in Rotten Tomatoes than Force Awakens.
Correct.
All right.
Okay.
Is that too simple for you guys?
No. Okay. And so you kind of intimated that you were boosting it, but then you didn't boost it, saying it's a better story, but you're dropping that from your...
No, I'm going to keep it. I just don't know how that's quantified.
So, Craig, are you going to agree or disagree?
That it's better than a 93%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by the way, it's a 93%.
Okay.
The Last Jedi is,
better than a 93%. I'm going to have to disagree.
All right.
Good.
Disagree. I'm also going to disagree.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, God. Oh, wait. Oh, you. Oh.
I'm disagreeing. Are you going to re-agree? I'll give you a chance to go back.
No, I get it. I want it to be more, but a 93 is pretty damn good.
93 is hard. We just saw no superhero movies beating 92.
That's true, yeah. So I'm going to say
so.
Yeah.
And I do think that these follow on. Like, I think they go down.
The critics are a little more rough with them. Yeah.
You're going to have a hard, no spoilers, but the way one of the major characters had an ending in the last one, you're not going to have that kind of a moment. Although they might kill off Carrie Fisher because
she died.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Spoiler alert.
All right. So my round one.
Yes.
Not Star Wars, surprisingly. But I said that PAX Unplugged, which I just attended, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yes,
yeah, I like that.
PAX Unplugged had attendance. Its first ever event.
Yep.
Because it's the first time they've ever done it.
I already agree.
Yeah, me too.
30,000 people were there.
Yep.
Next year it'll be 50,000.
Oh, snap. 50.
50,000.
I say yes.
That's almost 100. That's like 90% growth.
Disagree.
Disagree. So you both have to agree for me to boost it. So I cannot boost it now because Craig disagreed with me. Raef disagreed with me. So I said that, and Craig is agreeing, but Raef is disagreeing. All right.
Yep. Yeah, it's not going to go 20,000 more people. That's a big jump.
All right, Craig, round 3 for you.
I say in 2018, they were going to see the recent trend of contractions and consolidations in the gaming industry continue. And I say we're going to see at least one major publisher that's going to be familiar to all three of us. So it's not going to be something that like I heard, but you could. It's got to be a major publisher that all three of us know about currently right now is going to cease to exist in its current form. So that doesn't necessarily mean it shuts its doors. It might get bought out by someone else. It might have to redefine itself, rename itself.
When you say publisher, does that also mean is there some distinguishment between that and a game company?
No,
somehow
a game Games Workshop, Privateer Press, Fantasy Flight.
So Fantasy Flight being bought by Asmodee would count.
Would have counted.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's already a pretty small group. So I don't know. What do you think, Raef? You gonna agree?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, who owns Wizards of the Coast right now? Is it Hasbro or something?
Yes.
Or the other way around?
So. Is it the other way around?
Anyway, so that's almost like if Disney bought Hasbro, that counts. Or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. If Disney would buy... because Wizards of the Coast... there's
Hasbro,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, Granger, round 2. What are you doing?
You're going to love how simple these are.
Keep it simple?
My wife is a yoga teacher now, so everything of mine...
Everything's about keeping
I
it simple.
breathe deeply, and I just keep it simple. Rey is not going to the dark side. Now, what I mean by that is if you look at the trailer...
I love this prediction.
Isn't this good?
I think I like the simplicity of it.
I thought you might.
Yeah.
But I have to say, you have to make this quantifiable because here's why. I'm going to wax philosophical. There are degrees of darkness.
Okay.
If she's on the way to the dark side, but she recovers, are you talking about in the next film? Or are you talking about because it's got to be quantifiable this year. So it can't be you can't come back to be 3 years from now, they finally, because for example, Vader ended in the light side after being in the dark side for 5 films.
Yeah, but you could tell at the end of each movie where he was.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, are you saying the end of the film? What are you saying?
I actually don't even know, since we're waxing philosophical, I wouldn't count...
You didn't think this would be such a tough one, did you?
I somehow don't count Vader going to the light side.
Sure, he's glowing. At the end, if you glow...
Pretty much the only quantifiable evidence of you going to the light side...
is glowing.
Is the glowy.
Yeah.
I mean, when they photoshopped him in with the glowy midichlorian...
No, he was glowing in the... No, he was glowing in the first series, too.
The original actor...
Just a different actor glowing.
Right.
Yeah. He's always been glowing.
He was always glowing.
Have you not watched these films? Have you not heard Lucas say it's the redemption of Anakin Skywalker? The whole story arc's the redemption of Anakin Skywalker.
Yes, at the end with the Ewoks.
Yes.
No, I don't count that.
When he throws the Palpatine over the thing, he redeems himself.
Yeah, but he doesn't go
Spoilers.
to the light side in that moment.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
He's just traitorous to his side.
I'm going to come over and smack. What are you even talking about?
It's the whole point of the trilogy.
Redemption of Anakin. This is the entire story arc.
But it's not like he goes to the light side. He just...
The only reason we endure pod racing is to learn.
He just kills the Emperor. Okay, that's my point. If you assassinate Hitler, does that mean you're an ally?
If in the end you save millions of people by killing him?
Doesn't mean you're on the Allied force. You just thought Hitler was so bad you killed him.
Let's go back to Raef for a minute. What do you mean by will not go to the dark side?
Like any fan in the world would be like, yep, she's a Sith now.
She will not become a Sith. That's a very specific.
No, what's his name? Who's the new?
I feel like you're intentionally staying vague on this.
She's not going to be on his team at the end of this.
Well, no. See,
end of the next movie.
Always two there are. The apprentices fight each other.
Well,
so if she's not on his team, but she's also a bad guy, like cutting down little Padawan Jew.
And then we went all Yoda.
Well, of course we're talking Star Wars.
Disagree with me then.
All right.
Okay,
all right, this is ridiculous. How are you going to quantify? This is not quantifiable.
It is.
Okay, wait. I'm going to suggest a way to quantify it. Okay. You are saying that Rey will not take any irredeemably bad action in The Last Jedi.
No.
Meaning she's not going to kill a good guy.
No, she could do any of that. I'm saying we won't.
This is a terrible prediction.
I'm saying we won't walk out of the theater and go, holy shit, I can't believe, holy crap.
There goes our safe for families.
Not even having my drink anymore. I can't believe she's on the dark side now.
All right.
That's what I mean.
That sounds like an 80s song.
I still feel like this is weak. I don't know how you quantify this.
I mean, I'm going to agree.
All right.
Just based on your assumption of what he means, wouldn't you agree?
I think
There's that scene where she's like, I don't know where to turn anymore.
No, but that doesn't mean she'll be darkly into this movie.
Saying.
Wait, can we change it to be any mechanical body parts? Because that's clearly a sign you're going to the dark side. Yes, it is. That's how Luke realized he was doing the wrong thing. He's like, oh my God, I'm becoming like my father. Have you not watched these films? Do you know what these are about?
So if he puts his arm around her and they walk off together, like, oh my gosh, they're on the same team. We could figure that out.
No, because then what happens if he goes back to the light and they're on the same team and somehow you squeak it through a back door with a win? I say no. Sir.
Then you can disagree.
All right. Okay, so this has become... All right, let's just... So you're basically saying, can we base it on the color of the lightsaber? How do we work this? I just don't really know for sure. Okay, never mind. So we'll just go with it. Are you going to agree or disagree? This is not very quantifiable. All right, you're going to agree. Craig's agreeing. I will... see, I don't want to... I'll agree. That way it's worth minimal points. I'm just going to meta game this one right here.
Yeah. So you're going to boost it?
I can boost it. So she's not going to go to the dark side. So she...
This is what I was moving... If we both agree, he has to.
She won't...
He's got to boost it. Yeah, that's a good move. Good. Wait a minute. Give a virtual high five here. All right, good.
She won't fight a light side person.
Oh, now I like that.
She won't fight a light side person?
Yeah. So there will not be a battle in this film of her fighting a light side person.
Correct.
Light side being not necessarily a Jedi, even just someone who's defined as a good guy.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
Finn or anyone.
Correct.
Right.
Fight in what? Like if they try to do something bad that she disagrees with and she tries to stop them for their own good, is that a fight?
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? And I'm already disagreeing now.
Okay.
I think she will.
You think she's going to fight a good guy?
I disagree, baby. I think there's going to be a twist like that.
Jeez.
All right. You want to change, Craig? Or are you going to stick where you are? I like that, Raef. That's much more quantifiable.
Okay.
I still agree. I don't think she's going to fight a light side.
Fair.
I think she could do. There could be a twist like that. Yeah. Like they try to attack.
Doesn't mean she'll be dark side, right?
Dark or,
Right.
All right.
I see arguments in our future. That's my prediction.
I see. So I also went with a Star Wars prediction in round 2.
Wow.
I didn't do back-to-back Star Wars predictions. That's just ludicrous. But I did one in round 2. Here you go. Ready? Mine is a little more quantifiable, and I am changing storylines. So I say that Solo, a Star Wars story, will do better than The Last Jedi in both Metacritic and opening box office weekend. Ooh, 3 points. Craig is disagreeing.
Disagree.
Oh, really? Ooh, potential maximum score here. I love it. All right, so that means we're going into round 3 now. Craig, round 2. What was your round 2 prediction for Craig?
My round 2 prediction is that my computer is freezing up.
Oh, I see
I'm
that.
trying to help you out by copying and pasting on there, but
all right.
Oh, come on, where am I? Okay, I'm gonna say, ready?
Yes.
I am not going to do more than 2 Kickstarters in 2018.
I disagree. Right out of the gate. Disagree.
Oh, okay. Wow. I was afraid you guys were going to push me to 1.
Oh, no, man. Seriously? You failed so bad last year.
It.
How do you think this is even going to be possible? And plus,
I like to think that it will help me with willpower.
It's worth the risk to be wrong, just to be able to mock you incessantly if we're correct.
Yes, exactly.
So Raef is disagreeing.
Yep.
And I am also disagreeing. Right. So that seems like a no-brainer, really, after this year as well. Right. So that is round 2. Moving on to round 3.
Yes.
Granger, what is your round 3 prediction?
Okay. I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to help you guys out.
Okay.
I will play a lead guitar solo in one of my backyard gigs. Now, to give you my playing ability, nowhere near solo. Like, I can't do single note, like, none of that. Nowhere near that. I can do a 3-note. I can do, that Tom Petty song where it's like, there's like a Tom Petty song where he goes, that's the extent of my solo's abilities. I can play that, and that's it.
I don't know. I seem to remember
in the summer 6 months
achievements.
I agree, because he's very passionate about this music.
Yeah, I agree, too.
I'm going to agree. Do you want to boost it?
Well, I have to now.
You don't have to, but it's foolish not to because you're just risking -1 for nothing.
Okay, here's the second part.
Yeah.
I play behind the lead guitarist. So, like, the lead guitar, if I didn't exist, he can play the song soup to nuts.
Right.
I fill in, and I don't play the whole song. There's not one song where if he wasn't there, I could play the whole song. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll have one of those, too.
So a song where he's not on stage?
He's on stage, but I carry it.
I still agree.
Yeah, I thought that's what lead guitar would mean.
Yeah.
No, I mean a solo.
No.
I'd be like
right. No, but well, then I agreed to something even more.
Anyway, step it up. Step it up. That's not sufficient. Go big or go home.
Changing it.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm going to see what happens with the score.
All right, there you go.
Maybe it'll throw him off his win. He wins on the back end.
This could be this clever outside play that nobody really expects. So I kind of like where you're going.
So I'm just going to keep it with. Well, no, I guess I boosted it to the second level, so I have to.
Well, we don't know what that means anyway, so it's fine. All right. I have another. Now this one might get me in trouble a little bit with you guys in terms of how to quantify it. So you guys tell me what you think here. But basically, it's Star Wars related, but it's gaming.
Okay.
So I said that Fantasy Flight Star Wars miniature game Legion, the new miniature combat squad game, will be fun, but will not enjoy the success of X-Wing. So think it'll be kind of like Armada level. Right?
Which one? Oh, Legion?
Legion will not do as well as X-Wing. Well...
Because I agree with that.
I don't know exactly.
I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. So let me do it this way. There will be... Ooh, this will be tricky. This will kick it up a notch. There will be no Legion scheduled events at Adepticon 2019. So not this coming spring, because there will be some, because everybody's excited about it. But next year, it'll be such a meaty,
mediocre.
No events at all.
No Legion events.
No Legion events.
No Legion competitive events. Competitive events.
So fans could play it.
Well, people can do what they want, but there'll be no because the Adepticon event list is out now, right? So you won't see any competitive Legion events by the end of 2018 in the 2019 Adepticon list.
I disagree.
All right, sweet. So Craig disagrees. And Raef agrees.
Keep them to minimum points.
There's a serious meta going on this year. Wow, this is serious. All right, Craig, what are you thinking?
Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Hold on to your seats, because all my positive DC mojo is going to fly right out the window, and it's probably going to take most of the atmosphere with it. Currently, for 2018, DC only has a single movie scheduled, Aquaman. After the Justice League debacle, which I enjoyed the movie.
I thought it was great.
I did too.
But apparently...
What's the debacle?
The debacle is it didn't do nearly as well as
it's not making the monies they want.
And the critics didn't like it either.
No.
It's like
the fans liked it. I mean, it wasn't the amazing movie it could have been, but it was fun. It was a fun movie.
The amazing. So did you just almost... Anyway.
No.
So there's a big shakeup right now going on in DC.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to say that that's not going to be the case. Okay? So either they're going to add another DC movie, they're going to push something forward to 2018 so there's more than one movie in 2018, or Aquaman's going to be switched out so Aquaman will not be in 2018.
Or moving on Aquaman. Wow.
Yeah. Do you consider Suicide Squad, is that considered DC?
Yeah, that was DC. Yeah.
So Suicide Squad 2 came out.
Right, but it's
some reason.
Right. Yeah, there's currently nothing scheduled right now.
Other than Justice League
Justice League True. No.
Nothing scheduled for 2018. For this coming year.
The only thing scheduled is Aquaman.
Oh, Aquaman, sorry.
Yeah.
I heard, okay.
That's okay, yeah.
Raef, what do you think?
So there's going to be either 2 or none. It's interesting.
No, because I like if they switch Aquaman out for something they think is going to be more popular, like they might keep that slot is theirs right now. They could switch it out if they want. Mm-hmm. So they could switch out a different movie that they think is more of a sure win.
So that counts too.
I disagree. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
I mean, it's highly unlikely, is what I'm saying. That would
neither of those things are going to happen. That's a bold prediction.
It is. It would be a drastic move.
And I wanted to put a drastic improvement for DC because I feel like they need to do something. So and this is a really cool prediction,
disagree.
But I have to disagree with you.
And I like what they did with Aquaman. I like that they made him like a metal fighter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's better than what it is in the comics.
Well, sure. All right. That's round 3. Moving on to round 4 now. Passing the halfway spot here. 4. All right, Raef, what were you thinking around 4?
This could be fluff, or it could be the way of Shadows of Brimstone.
All right.
I predict that I will still be part of the Pathfinder campaign and the Starfinder campaign.
Both?
Yep.
Both.
And let me tell you that we've all agreed we can't miss one thingy. It's not one thing in, you're out. But we all made a pledge, like there's no, sorry guys, really busy with work. Nope, none of that. Christian can't be like, sorry, Fidelity. We came close when his basement flooded, and he still came.
Wow.
He took off hours of work to get the flooding part done to make it to that.
Wow, that's hardcore. I like that. You guys are impressive. That's impressive.
We've never seen that commitment.
So you're saying you're going to, now, how long have you been in the campaign to date?
Has it been more than a year?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
I think Pathfinder's been a year and Starfinder's been 4 times.
So what's happened is you've added a second campaign on of equal commitment.
Yep.
So to be able to do both these things for an entire year does seem impressive.
Twice a month you have something you cannot break?
Correct.
Wow.
Now we don't necessarily play twice a month. So in other words, we might be like, we can't get a second Starfinder date in.
Oh, so you guys it's not every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. It's, okay, when we go to this Tuesday, this session, let's plan the next session.
Sort of. We do plan first Tuesday and last Tuesday are when they're supposed to be. But Chris is like, I'm in Hawaii.
Right.
And so that doesn't count as missing. And so we don't play that session. Okay, so it's not that every month. However, we like it so much that we make makeup sessions. So sometimes we play 3 times.
I feel like that you're going to fail at this. I appreciate your effort, but I feel like with your commitment to your new business efforts and with your band commitments,
right,
those 2 things, just noticing how you put those things above other gaming in the past,
right,
I feel like you're definitely dedicated, but these two things will distract you, and it comes down to one of the two campaigns will fail. So I like your commitment to both. I'm going to disagree because I feel like one of the two.
I could
and
say I got
because you know the other one's still in there, you might be like, I'm okay losing one.
Right, that's right.
And it won't feel as bad.
And I've been known to do stuff like that.
I'm gonna disagree.
What has to happen? You have to miss a single session?
Like, there's a session booked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry, guys, I can't make it.
Just you or anybody in the group?
No, me.
You specifically.
Like, I call them up. I'm like, I hate to do this to you, but I can't make it.
And they kick you out.
And it's not because...
Hit the road, Jack.
Well, no, there's no policy that if that happens, we just all...
No, I think you can do it.
All right, Craig's agreeing.
I have faith.
That is a bold prediction, sir. I like it.
I like it.
I like your dedication.
All right.
And we've already seen Craig failed at the dedication for Kickstarter, so these things aren't guaranteed by any stretch.
No.
All right. So my prediction in round 4, I said I had a Raef Granger prediction here, but Raef, I really want to get you back into War Machine. Okay. Whether it's Company of Iron or War Machine, but I made this prediction really about War Machine hordes, and I kind of want to expose you to new opponents. So I'm predicting that in 2018, that Raef Granger will lose a game of War Machine or Hordes to Rose Wakeland. Lose. So you're going to have to play her at some point. I'll figure out a way to get you guys playing. Maybe at your house, maybe at our house. I don't know.
Okay.
And she will beat you because she's that good of a
Well, there's no doubt in my mind she'll beat me.
So, I mean, you can bring your A game because
I am pretty good at
you're good at Kadora. I mean, you can bring the right list, and I think she'd have a hard... I mean, you probably, she's still learning.
Decker now.
But my goal here is... The reason I want to have a result is I want to sort of throw the gauntlet that you're going to play her and really like...
I could be being Jedi mind tricked on this because I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, I won't play.
So, I mean, you could choose not to play. But I feel like if we set something up that'd be really fun, like some War Machine event, and Rose is playing too, the game could happen. But that's okay. You can still win the prediction by beating her.
Right.
So you can still play her. You just got to not lose.
It's a good prediction. I'm going to disagree. Which thus locks it in.
Right. There you go. Craig, how do you feel about this? That's the question.
By agreeing, I'm saying he is going to play and lose?
And lose, yes.
And lose.
I agree.
Oh, nice. I like the cut of your jib. All right. Excellent. All right, Craig.
So if I know anybody who would take his A game to a little girl, it would be Raef.
Hey, don't let her. She would not want you to be soft.
I've heard of her problems.
She would not. She would not want that. All right, Craig.
I'm going away from War Machine. I'm going to 40K.
All right.
Okay, I say that in 2018, 40K will continue to be a force to be reckoned with in our gaming group. And by the end of the year, I will have gotten at least 8 games in. So
how many games so far this year?
Yeah, a bunch. But I'm saying, I don't know how many, but
more than 8.
Probably around 8.
I mean, we played 3, I think.
Oh yeah.
You record them in the board game tracker?
I will record them so that's
all right.
I'm saying,
or just name your opponents.
Okay, yeah.
Have a victims list.
Right.
So
or victors list.
8 or more.
8 or more. Yes.
I agree.
No, exactly 8.
He's going to do that. 8 or more, easy peasy.
So you agree. I kind of want to agree too. I'm going to agree too because
what about
that's easy. You've been playing a lot.
Evenly spread so that at least 2 a quarter, so that I have to keep playing even into next year.
I'm agreeing until you up the number.
10.
10's a lot. Get to 12. One a month. Then I'll disagree.
Okay, 12.
Yeah, I'm with Russ on that. If you go to 12, and it's once a month.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying and.
Guarantee that
I'm just saying 12 total.
12 total.
Which would average once a month. So you could go crazy and play 3 in 1 month and none the next.
Right.
No, that's 12's a lot. 12's a lot, guys.
It is a lot. But
I track all my games. 12 is a lot.
That counts. He plays Joe. That counts. All that counts.
I play a lot of War Machine.
I can't get those guys together more than once every 2 months.
Okay. He's going to disagree at 12?
I disagree. If you go to 12, I didisagree.
You're going to do it.
You going to 12?
I agree.
All right. All right. So I disagree with that. 12's a lot.
It is a lot. I don't think I think I may have just boosted
Unless
myself.
you go tournament or league, you don't normally get to that number.
Right.
But that's still impressive. I think you can do it.
All right, Russ.
It's a good prediction, though, because Raef's still with you, so that's good. All right, round 5 here, Granger.
Okay, I don't know how to quantify it, so I'm going to explain it, what I mean, and you will know how to quantify it, because you just know this stuff. The Xbox 10, that's out now, right?
X, yes. It's confusing. The iPhone X is a 10.
By the way, that's on purpose.
The Xbox One X is an X.
Purpose.
Yeah.
It's
It's a Roman numeral.
It's an
in the
Apple
iPhone.
Microsoft.
Yeah, it is.
They're still fighting.
It's a thing.
Here's what I'm trying to say. The Xbox One, its launch and its ability to sell new units will be better than the 10. So I'm not saying that they're going to sell more this year or last year or this year, but when I'm so like if there was a way to say in the 1 year since the Xbox One launched, we sold 3 billion units. In the 1 year since the Xbox One X launched, we only sold 1 million units.
So are you saying? So you're saying the first year of the One X will not sell as many consoles as the first year of the Xbox One.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, that's a good
picture.
picture.
I don't know who tracks that.
We can figure that out. So, Craig, what do you think of that?
I'm sorry, what was it?
We totally glazed over.
I got all confused.
Okay, in the 1 year of whenever the Xbox One came out, which is the current console, the one I have.
Right, yes.
Okay, that year, there were more units sold. Okay. So let's say there were 3 million units
So
sold.
you're saying that the new one will outsell it or not outsell it?
Not outsell it.
Yeah, he's saying it will not sell as many units his first year as the Xbox One did.
I disagree.
Craig disagrees. Man, I kind of want to agree with that. I kind of want to agree with that because I think it's a higher end unit, and until you get the reason none of my friends own it actually is because they don't have 4K televisions yet. So the big thing about the Xbox One X is it's 4K, but not a lot of people have 4K TVs yet. So if you don't have 4K television, there's really no reason to buy it.
That's right.
So I do feel like
I want to change.
But this could be the year of the 4K TV because they were dirt cheap at Black Friday. That was the big thing. Like they were all like under $600.
Yep.
So
the only thing that happens is, Craig, just so you know, they start to make games that sort of were better.
Oh, they're a lot better. Like even now, like Assassin's Creed, you can tell.
I'm going to stick with
my daughter's even noticed. Okay,
I'll make sure he gets fair.
I'm going to.
I appreciate.
I want to disagree, but I'm going to agree to mitigate risk. This is a meta game thing, Craig. So I'm with you. I got your back on this.
Gotcha.
This is a risk mitigation situation. All right. So back to me here in round 5. Okay. So Privateer Press has already screwed me on this prediction, but I'm going to tell you what I said. Okay. It was a bold prediction until earlier today.
Until 4 hours ago.
So, right. So my prediction was that Company of Iron is going to do well. And the way I want to quantify this is that it'll do well enough so that it'll be supported in War Room.
Yep.
Which they just released today. Because when I chatted with Will at Gen Con, he's like, oh, maybe if it does well, we're not sure. And it literally just dropped today as Raef and I was about to play. So that part's already right. But I'm going to stick to the other part, which is they're also going to get a full-color standalone rulebook. So right now, there is a standalone set of rulebooks. They're all like small booklets. They're all black and white, and they're only available. I want to say they're going to print a nice full-color one to support it because it's going to be that good, and you're going to want to buy the rules in a nice way.
I think it's pretty bold in today's day, PDF download and whatnot. I'm going to agree with you, however. But I'm a fan, so
Raef agrees.
I'm going to disagree.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. So I don't kick a max score there, but I feel like I'm a little better. So Raef says he agrees there'll be a full-color rulebook. I almost went hardcover.
Hardcover.
I did not go hardcover.
Then I agree.
Oh, then I'll make it hardcover.
Yeah, because isn't there rule book right now?
No,
color?
It's black and white booklet.
No, unless it goes to hardcover. I agree.
Okay, so I'll kick it up to hardcover then.
Okay.
Raef, do you want to change it? Okay. The standalone hardcover. Because I think what's going to happen
we could be so cold.
It could become a gateway version. So if it's good enough to War Machine and Hordes Universe guys, you'd want to have the fluff and stuff in there to engage them. Because right now those books have no fluff. They're assuming right now they're targeting War Machine and Hordes players.
Right.
And to try new factions and just a smaller game. Yeah. But if it does well enough, it could be the gateway drug.
But I think we lose. I think Craig's got it.
All right.
I'm sticking with it, though.
Round 5, Gallant. What did you predict?
All right. Currently, the number 1 grossing Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is the first Avengers movie.
Really?
Yeah.
At what percent?
With $623 million in gross sales. Second place is Age of Ultron with $459 million. I'm going to say that by the end of 2018, Age of Ultron will no longer be in the number 2 slot. One of the 3 big movies coming out, which would be Black Panther, Infinity War.
Good prediction.
Or I think Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Agree.
You agree?
Yep. But that's just because Age of Ultron was.
I also agree.
All right, then I will say that it will blow away the first Avengers movie. So it will become...
Which is it? Are you picking a specific movie?
I am picking a specific
You're saying
movie.
that...
I am saying that Infinity War...
Infinity War will be the highest grossing Marvel movie ever.
Yes.
Okay.
Disagree.
I will also disagree.
All right.
All right, excellent.
I love when he makes these movie predictions.
He does do well with them too. So, Craig, can you fix my notes in there? I kind of messed them up.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, moving on to round 6.
This is going to blow the socks off of everybody, and I'm sticking to this. We learned earlier that Craig thinks he's only going to fund 2 Kickstarters in a year, but he funded 3.
He did.
For 2 years in a row.
No, the year before that, I did a lot more than 3.
Okay. Well, in 2018, you're going to do a lot more. I say you're going to kickstart 4 more.
So that's just more points baked into that one.
It is. So, Craig, you almost have to disagree. So, Raef says Craig will back 4 or more.
I could hedge my bets.
He could hedge his bets.
So I could recoup my point. That's what this is. If I agree with him, if I do keep it to 2, I don't lose anything. But if I don't keep it to 2, I go over, then I regain the point I lose.
Except you have to do 4. You can't just go to 3.
Oh, I have to go to 4.
It's a tough
4 more.
Yeah, it's 4.
That's pretty clever.
It's well thought out. There's some good math going on here.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what you said earlier, Russ. My secret, I don't even care about the point. I just like knowing that he'll feel happy inside when he funds 4 or more.
Right.
Rather than feel bad.
Right. You're just really, it's a psychological boost for you.
Yeah, it's a psychological
This is a pat on the back when you spend all that money.
Yes.
Right.
You're like, well, at least Raef.
I'm going to disagree. Exactly. I'm going to do it this time.
Well, last year you only did 3.
You only did 3.
4 feels like a lot. I'm trying to think of a really good one. Like
4 is a very clever number.
Those board game shelves, there were some good ones in there. I'm going to agree on this. I'm going to agree.
Yeah, you feel it, don't you?
That
you think I'm going to 4 or more? Okay.
Well, I just hate to give him triple points. It's really what it is. I'm kind of like, because if you, are you really going to do 4 Kickstarter this year? I feel like you did 3.
I don't think so. That's why I just did what I did.
All right. I'll disagree. I want the point.
Oh, I'll even do you one better.
Oh,
You're going to boost it even though you don't have to?
It's not the $1 to see what's going on.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Thank you for that
not counting with more than $1 each, right?
Yeah.
More than
I would like to clarify that also on mine to give me the room there.
Go change it then.
Yeah, I'm going to change it. Are you guys still okay with me?
Yeah, I'm okay with the movement. Yep. Yeah, I wasn't thinking that either. For me, it's got it. You're actually getting something from the Kickstarter.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah. All right, round 6, second to last round. I wanted to do something about trends in the industry. So I've been thinking about this, and then I was thinking of the trend that I wanted to predict, and then I was like, no, I want to go bold and predict what I don't think is happening.
Well, that sounds like a very
But I think it is happening, but it's happening very subtly. So here's what I think. I think people think that there's a trend to make games shorter, board games shorter.
Yeah.
But I think after the success of games like Scythe and a couple other really big games and the reprinting of Twilight Imperium with no attempt to shorten the gameplay whatsoever, I think there is going to be a resurgence of long-playing epic board games.
I like it.
So the way I want to validate this is there will be 3 of the must-have board games at Gen Con, so the ones that people are racing to get right when it opens, will have play times listed on the box at over 2 hours, which is a lot because most game companies like to really undersell the time.
Yeah.
And very rarely do you see 120 minutes.
For Gen Con this year?
The must-haves for Gen Con, like
how are you going to quantify a must-have?
I'll have some kind of a board game because like a must-have like thread, so it'll be on one of those threads.
But those are those threads just like wish lists that like have hundreds of games?
They're the places that there's lines at to buy it.
So I like this prediction. We just have to figure a way to nail down what the
quantifying is not good enough.
Must-have is.
Yeah.
So like, is there a line at the booth? We all know, like, I could list all the Gen Con. I'll have to make a note this year of like to remind us the must-have things. But we can listen to that episode too. We all talk about like at Gen Con, this booth was mobbed and everybody wanted X.
I think that's an okay quantifier. If we say the Gen Con,
it'd be on me to list 3 games that you both go, oh yeah, the line was massive. That is.
Well, as it currently stands, I think I'm going to say agree.
Agree. Ooh, okay.
I agree too.
Really?
But I don't think it's because you made a weak one. I just think you're right.
Oh. Wow.
I think it's because it's weak.
Okay.
It's going to boost the time or boost the number of games.
Boost the time. Well, it's very rare to find games that have more than 120 on them. Like 120 is like
pretty
long.
rare.
Like no one lists longer than 120. They just put 120 plus. Like, no one puts 3 hours on their box.
What's 2 hours?
Yeah, list a game. Tell me a game that's got, well, what is the actual playtime for Twilight Imperium?
I don't know.
Hours and hours? That's what it should say. Endless. All right.
What's the playtime for the old Civ?
How about this? 3 of the top-rated Board Game Geek games that were published in 2018 will be over 2 hour plus.
What? Oh, okay. What is quantifiable? Say it again.
I'm making it tricky. If you look at the games released in 2018 on Board Game Geek, at the end of 2018, 3 of the top 5 games will be over 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. I disagree with that.
That's a really dangerous prediction.
Yeah.
I agree.
You agree? Wow.
I'll agree.
All right. Okay. All right.
This is where, in 2017, I believe you, and then in 2018, I don't know why.
All right. 3 of top 5. Okay. Raef, Craig, what's your round 6 prediction?
I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to say there are currently, as far as I know, no plans for this, and no products that I have worked on. I say there will be at least a 5th faction released for Rune Wars in 2018.
I still wanted to make that prediction as well, and I'm going to agree.
You guys know it, so I agree.
Okay, I will say that there will be 2 additional factions.
I think so. They come out in pairs.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay.
I want there to be. But I feel like Fantasy Flight's going to start hedging their bets.
I think they're going to hedge their bets. That's why I thought you were. I didn't know that you were both.
Raef agrees, and I disagree. Yeah. Right? You staying there, Raef, with your agree?
I'll stay there.
All right. Round 7. Final round.
It's not flashy, but I think it's good.
All right, what do you got?
The Spider-Man Homecoming series, so the sequel, which I believe comes out 2018 summer. Somebody wants to check that for me. Will continue to be 90% and over. So,
is that due for this year,
I
Craig?
Googled it. I saw something that
July 5th, 2019.
Oh, okay.
Wrong year.
That's what they mean by next summer. They don't mean.
That's right. So, what are you going to do now? You want to go last and think of a new prediction?
Yeah, I'll go last.
All right. Well, we'll come back to Granger on that. He's got a faulty prediction. I can get this. So here we go. My round 7 prediction. My final prediction for 2018. Here we go. I really wanted to go something kind of techie. I haven't done a techie prediction yet this year. Last year I tried 3D printing, which, as we all know, was wrong. So this year I wanted to go with augmented reality.
Okay.
So what I wanted to say is, so there's a lot of augmented reality games on phones right now, but they all suck. So, including Pokemon Go, but I don't even really, Pokemon Go is not really augmented reality, but we can argue about that later. But anyway, there will be a breakout augmented reality game that will be huge with strategy gamers. And it will have a Metacritic rating of 80 or better.
So the only actual part of that prediction is that we'll have a Metacritic.
Well, but also the strategy gamer part, I could go point to like Board Game Geek or Pocket Strategist or some other websites and say, see, the game's reviewed there because it's a strategy game, and look, its Metacritic's over 80.
So it will be a strategy game with a Metacritic rating of...
Yes.
What's an example of a strategy game?
Like there's a one now where you can look through your phone and it shows a miniature game on your table, but it just sucks. So there'll be a good one of those by the end of the year. Something like that. Disagree. All right, cool. Both of you disagree. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Craig, what's your prediction?
I think I'm going over to War Machine now. I think that Company of Iron will reinvigorate the local War Machine players in our circle, and between the 3 of us, we will get at least 10 more games of Company of Iron in before 2018.
Wow, Company of Iron.
Yeah, not War Machine or Hordes, which I'm now having second thoughts because Raef's response to Company of Iron was, yeah, I liked it, but I already like War Machine, so why would I play this? So, but I'll stick with it. And that means, like, if you play somebody else, that's one.
Yeah,
if Russ plays Rose, that's one.
I've already got 6 games in, so I'm going to agree. At this rate, I'll have 10 by the end of the year. It's only been a month.
So you guys are fickle, though. Well, Russ is fickle. He could play...
I'm pretty reliable on War Machine, though.
In January, and then be done.
Yeah, what do you think, Granger?
I'm going to disagree.
All right. So we're done except for your Spider-Man prediction, sir. Yeah. What are you going to do?
I thought of it. It's a good one. I think
all right, what do you got?
Like it.
What do you got?
I'm going to predict that the one DC movie Aquaman will be fan score of 75% more, 75% or higher on Rotten Tomatoes.
So fan score of over 75, that's pretty high.
Fans.
Not over 75. 75 or more.
Right.
Because I know you. You'll be like, ooh, it's 75. I said over. Now, I'd like to point out, that's not a super high percentage, but it means like it could tank. Like, what did Suicide Squad get? Like, that movie tanked.
No.
Yeah, but it's a pretty fun movie. I like that one, actually. All right, so Craig, what do you think of that prediction? That's an interesting prediction.
I have to do my due diligence on this.
All right.
To look at the fan score of Justice League is 80.
Yeah, so I'm going to disagree. I think Aquaman, as much as I like what they tried to do there, I think they could have done so much more of that character, and they didn't know how to use him properly. I think someone had a really creative idea of how to change Aquaman up, and the writers still didn't know what to do with it.
So what I'm banking on is that they're going to figure that out.
No, it's DC. I would point to Superman versus Batman and every other DC movie ever.
That.
Exhibit A.
So, yeah, but what's the fan score on Batman versus Supes? Not 75. So I'm going to disagree with you. Craig, what do you think?
I'm going to do a little more due diligence.
The best part is Ryan Reynolds is going to be in it. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it was very intriguing that Ryan Reynolds has already been in more than 3. He's been in more than 3 comic characters. Yeah, I'm going to disagree.
All right.
Yeah. Suicide Squad is at 61.
Yeah, see, that Suicide Squad was pretty good.
That was pretty well.
I thought it was pretty
liked,
good.
I thought.
All right. Okay, so that only leaves the bonus round. So we now have to predict who we think's going to win. Raef, who do you think's going to win next year?
Craig.
Right. Craig, who do you think's going to win next year? And I also think Craig is clearly going to win. It'd be foolish to do anything else. So there you have it. Another prediction episode is in the can.
I want to say one more thing.
Yes.
Before, I think of this almost every year. Before we even started to do prediction episodes, I think what started this, was Russ, to me, had this brilliant prediction. He's like, Raef, we're not even going to be having discs anymore for Xbox games. You're going to be able to just log right in and download the game. That was pretty revolutionary back when he said that, at least for people not in the tech know. And I just, every time I go, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do Call of Duty. Why not? I just decide at that minute, log,
and there it is.
And boom, there it is.
Magical. So,
do you remember that?
I do remember talking about that. I don't remember thinking of it as a prediction, but sure.
No, it was before predictions. You just predicted it. You're like, I predict. Now, and maybe you knew about it in the trades or
Well, at the time it was tricky because people couldn't figure out how they would sell it. Like, that would be a huge backlash in GameStop and Game Trade. And there was a big deal around it, but they finally figured it out.
So anyway, I just kind of marvel at that, about how that's occurred.
Well, it's so much fun. Thank you, Raef, for coming back on the show and joining us.
Hey, Raef, if people are looking for what you're up to, where do they go?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. The best places to go, I would say, are my website, which is Raef at RaefGranger.com. And I am I'm trying to become more better at Twitter.
Mo better at Twitter.
I do like the social media, but I'm not 100% Facebook lover myself. But I do love Twitter. Always love Twitter.
Twitter's fun because it's out there.
Yeah, I'm going to do so. You can find me there.
Yeah, cool.
And
where on Twitter?
Well, I'm Hollywood at the D6 Generation. I think I'm going to do a Russ and go to Raef Granger. But I'm going to keep the same feed. So just put my hobby.
Yep.
It's kind of neat. I went to a branding person, and because what happens is my name's so unusual. So if you're looking for me for law and you type in Raef, you know what pops up?
What?
Me with a picture standing in front of Gen Con.
There you go.
Or a D6G episode. Yeah. Or, because those get more hits.
Right. Higher traffic.
And I'm not ashamed of it at all. Like, sometimes clients would come in and be like, so what's 40K? Like, what are you talking? Oh, right. So, so she's like, let's just embrace it. Just put it all together.
Own it, right.
So I kind of like that.
Yeah, Nicole did that too with her automotive.
So I think I'm going to do
that. But it works out for Nicole. She's automotive, but they all know she's Toyota fangirl.
Right.
Yeah. And then Nissan Rogue is like, hey, aren't you the automotive journalist who also likes Star Wars? You want to come to the world premiere with us over in L.A.? And she's like, yeah. And then write about Nissan? Right. Me. Right. Totally. Hashtag so jealous of my wife right now.
Rob.
Right. So anyway.
That's where you find me. I would say those two places. And and definitely please check out the podcast, the One-to-One podcast with Raef Granger.
Right.
Leave me reviews too, kindly, if you like it.
Yeah.
So that other people can find it just on D6G. And I want to come on. I didn't come on that much
We'll get you back. Let us know.
Which wasn't you guys. I know I can come on anytime I want.
Always welcome.
A month would go by and I'm like, I should, and then another month went by.
That's how life works.
And I love that we did it here live.
This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Do this again.
Too.
It's always more fun.
So, yeah.
All right, boys.
All right, guys.
We'll wrap it up and talk to you guys again soon.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.
This Did You Ever Notice is brought to you by all of our fine friends over at Patreon. The men, the women, the boys, the girls, the dogs, the cats, the exotic pets that are only legal in only a couple states. Of course, these are the people that have stood up to be counted with the not too horrible few. And today I'd like to thank Adam Harder, Jason Harms, Ron Hayes, Nate Hendon, and David Henry. Thank you, guys, and thank you, everyone who has helped us keep this show running all these years since we switched over to you guys. We couldn't do it without you. Do you ever notice how hard sometimes it is to keep a positive outlook? And I'm not just talking about going to the fan appreciation pre-opening night celebration where you get to see Star Wars The Last Jedi 4 hours before anybody else. Thank you to the Wakeland clan, and thank you to Nicole in particular, who got invited to the actual premiere in LA, thus leaving a space for me. But seriously, there were 3 guys sitting right next to us. Russ and I were sharing a lovely little love seat that luckily reclined and with dual controls, so we weren't completely tied to each other. And they were talking. And it was unbelievable. And I was like, seriously, are these guys following me from theater to theater? And I don't want to have to go to another theater, but I couldn't anyway because it wasn't an option. That was the only one doing the fan thing. So anyway, they stopped talking eventually, but I got so upset that I almost said something and then I didn't, and then they stopped talking. So that was good. And I don't mean that. I mean, it's so hard sometimes to keep a positive outlook when it seems like everything is going wrong. And quite often, what that means and what that's done is it has actually turned your perception sort of counterclockwise just a tick, and all of a sudden everything seems bad. And it's easy sometimes for that to happen. This has been quite a year for me and for my family. I've been in the hospital with family members no less than 6 times. 3 family members, my dad several times, my mom, my grandmother several times. It's been rough. And writing has not been great. This is the least productive year I've had since I started writing back in, I believe, 2011. And I've really, this year, I only wrote 1 short novel for 1 company who loved it, but then decided that it couldn't fit into their schedule and they weren't going to use it. Now, thankfully, they paid me, which was very nice. And they had me write little excerpts of it to use with another product, which was nice. But I was really proud of that work. I think that might be some of the best work that I've done. And to think that it's not being used hurt almost as much as all the other calls and emails that weren't returned by other people over the course of the year. Every sort of lead and every sort of half promise became vapor. It became words on the wind, so to speak, and that was very frustrating as well. I mean, I did a lot of work with War Cradle with the new Wild West Exodus, which was neat. But it wasn't a lot of any big things, and that at the same time is, now that you're looking at all of the books that I've written so far, except for Legacy of Shadow, are up in limbo. Like, I mean, you can still get them and read them, but the world that they are inhabiting is now almost like branched off in quantum theory into an alternate reality that doesn't exist anymore. So that's very frustrating. But at the same time, so it's easy for me right now to sort of get mired down in these things where it feels like the companies I worked with are either folding into other companies or they're launching out beyond me, and I feel like they've almost outgrown me sometimes, but that might be the voice of negativity in my head that speaks to me when I start to get down, which is what I'm talking about, where sometimes it's so hard to maintain a positive outlook. But with people like my wife and Russ, believe it or not, in my life, it's very frustratingly difficult to stay negative when they point out the other side of every coin. For instance, I was in the hospital a lot this whole year. Lots of people came very close to not being here by New Year's Eve. And you know what? Knock on wood. Jesus, I hope I'm not jinxing myself, but as of right now, it looks like everybody's going to make it through the new year, which is awesome, and I can't lose sight of that. And so I need to take the positive from that. And at the same time, I'm still getting offers from these people to write, and I'm still writing, and I've been writing for 5 or 6 years now, and I need to focus on that and keep that up and have faith in myself and not let the doubt creep in and that voice creep in that can stop you from doing things, which has stopped me from doing things for a couple months now. And so sometimes you have to listen. My wife is all about the positivity about the writing. So Russ is all about the positivity about the health, and my wife is all about the positivity about the writing. And you have to listen to those people sometimes, because those are the people that are going to keep you sane and keep you on the right track. And that's what I'm carrying with me into the new year right now, is a resolve to focus on the positive and not to lose faith in myself or the people around me, and to be appreciative of every day that I have with the people that I care about the most. And this is a short Did You Ever Notice? But I think it's to the point, and I feel like it's best to keep it short and leave it there for the thought that it might provoke, because I really do think that that's all I have to say about that. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for carrying through the entire show all the way to the end. I hope Russ rewards you with a funny blooper. There were several when we were recording with Raef, so I hope he picked one of the good ones. And I will see you on the flip side. We got one more before the end of the year. And thanks for listening, and good night.
Achievement unlocked! You've made it to the end of another D6 Generation episode, the podcast whose humor has universally been acclaimed as not too horrible. Please let us know what you thought of the show by either emailing us at info@d6generation.com or by posting in our official D6G episode thread at the top of the DACA Discussions Forum on DACA.com. If for some inexplicable reason you actually enjoyed this show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening, and happy gaming.
The theme from Total Fangirl comes from the soundtrack of The Last Night on Earth, the zombie game, courtesy of Flying Frog Productions, and is a composition of Mary Beth Magalanes.
And now another not too horrible hit from the D6Generation.com.
The first thing in gaming that really frustrates me, avoiding a cheesy army. The second thing in gaming that really frustrates me,
Packing up the pieces
and avoiding a cheesy army. The third thing in gaming that really frustrates me,
Time to paint my models.
Packing up the pieces
and avoiding a cheesy army. The fourth thing in gaming that really frustrates me,
Playing with my meeples.
Time to paint my models.
Packing up the pieces
and avoiding a cheesy army. The fifth thing in gaming that really frustrates me, Twilight Imperium.
Playing with my meeples.
Time to paint my models.
Packing up the pieces
and avoiding a cheesy army. The sixth thing in gaming that really frustrates me,
Dice off the table
5 hours of TI.
Look, a meeple pyramid.
Time to paint my models.
Maybe if I got some baggies.
And avoiding a cheesy army. The seventh thing in gaming that really frustrates me,
Him getting home
it's by your foot.
5 more hours of TI.
This meeple's doing a handstand.
Time to paint my models.
Does the board go on top or bottom?
And avoiding a cheesy army. The 8th thing in gaming that really frustrates me.
Getting pwned by noobs.
Him getting home on time.
And now your other foot.
Another 5 hours of TI.
Happy Meeple Circle.
Time to paint my models.
Where'd those rubber bands go?
And avoiding a cheesy army. The 9th thing in gaming that really frustrates me.
Keeping track of tokens.
Getting pwned by noobs.
Fine, 20 more minutes.
Dice off the table.
Still more hours of TI.
Line up, my little meeples.
Time to paint my models.
The box almost closes.
And avoiding a cheesy army. The 10th thing in gaming that really frustrates me.
Rulebooks with no index.
Keeping track of tokens.
Is that kid really 10?
You said 20 minutes 20 minutes ago.
Dice off the table.
Days and days of TI.
Aw, now they're holding hands.
Time to paint my models.
Maybe a tackle box.
And avoiding a cheesy army. The 11th thing in gaming that really frustrates me.
Dice that betray me.
Rulebooks with no index.
Which ship did I destroy?
He was older than he looks.
I'm not waiting up again.
Dice off the table.
An eternity of TI.
Meeple conga line.
Time to paint my models.
What about duct tape?
And avoiding a cheesy army. The 12th thing in gaming that really frustrates me. Staying in my budget.
Dice that betray me.
Where are the psychology rules?
I lost all my damage markers.
There's still age and treachery.
That's it, I'm going to bed.
Dice off the table.
Dying of old age while playing TI.
Meeple Massacre.
What's the website for painted figs?
Screw it, I'm just leaving it set up.
And avoiding a cheesy army.
Happy holidays from the D6 generation.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody,
Christmas.
and
Happy holidays,
Hanukkah.
everybody.
The preceding Not Too Horrible hit was brought to you by
The D6Generation.com and their wives.